Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Thursday. We are with you for the next 3 hours here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. It is Major League Baseball trade deadline Thursday. Less than 2 hours for teams to make moves. Blockbuster went down just as we were going on the air, as Carlos Correa is going back to Houston as Minnesota's teardown commences, or continues, I suppose. Really commenced with their trade of Yohan Duran to the Phillies yesterday. The Royals have made a move today. Freddie Fermin traded to the San Diego Padres in exchange for a pair of pitchers. Tell you why it's a good move for both teams, and we'll, of course, react to what promises to be a wild final 2 hours of the Major League Baseball trade deadline. Here on 580 Sports Talk today, I am Dan Lucero. With me today is Brendan Dworzinski. What?
Yeah, thank God.
What's up, man?
I'm good. Trade deadline day, always a blast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always a lot of fun. Always one of my favorite days of the sports calendar. It's the sports video. I think it's been interesting for people for forever, but especially in the sports video game generations, ooh, I got to do this. When you play the games, you get to feel like you are a general. I could do what JJ Piccolo did. I know I could have done what Dayton Moore did. You feel like you have a better grasp of those things. So ever since I was a kid, I've loved the trade deadline and doing the hypothetical fantasy booking moves and everything. So no, it's always a fun day. We're going to talk about some Royals moves here in just a second that I'm pretty content with. I actually feel pretty good about what JJ Piccolo has done for this team for the long haul. And like you mentioned, moved just a moment ago, Carlos Correa getting moved. So this is fun, man. This is a blast.
Yeah.
I wish my favorite team would do a little bit more, maybe, but nonetheless, it's fun.
We're starting to see the big names go off the board. Suarez to Seattle late last night. I was asleep when that went down.
Listen, man, when you can dump a player's high salary, so sell low, and then a year and a half later, buy high and have to give up more draft picks to get him, you have to do it. You absolutely have to do it. Sell low, buy high. Jerry DiPoto knows how to work the market, brother. He knows what he's doing. That's investment school 101 right there.
The American League has been full so far, mostly of moves that have been moves to assist on the fringes. Not a lot of star power coming to the American League contenders. Eugenio Suarez was an all-star this year, but outside of that, until the Carlos Correa deal, not a lot of earth-shaking moves happening amongst the American League contenders. That includes the Kansas City Royals, who picked up a pair of arms. Ryan Bergert and Stephen Kolek are the newest members of the Royals organization, acquired today from the Padres in exchange for Freddie Fermin. We'll talk about that deal and, of course, anything else that happens between now and the 5 o'clock trade deadline and a little bit after 5. You may recall a couple of years ago, it was probably about 5:15 when the news filtered in that Whit Merrifield had been traded to Toronto. So there's a reason they hold the flight till 5:30 and not 5 o'clock sharp. Let's just say that. So it will go down to the wire here on deadline day, and we'll have full reaction as it goes along here on 580 Sports Talk. We will also talk some Chiefs on an off day in St. Joe. So no practice film to comb through, no video to watch and tell you who's shown on a day when they were wearing shorts and shells. But a couple of topics that we haven't really had the occasion to get to that I'm excited to talk about today. ESPN ranking all 32 teams by their under 25 talent. Where do the Chiefs rank, and how high can they go on this list if this rookie class is as good as advertised? Also, a proposed trade by an ESPN writer that I think would make a ton of sense for the Kansas City Chiefs. We will get to those topics a little later on. 3 great guests on today's program. Bottom of this hour, Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. We're excited to have Pistol on with us, and we'll be talking about what he heard from Washburn football at MIAA Media Day earlier this week. More about that in a second. Also, change coming to the United Kansas Conference, which affects, of course, Shawnee Heights, Topeka High, and Seaman High schools, as they will add a 10th member school starting next year. So plenty to chew on with Pistol on the local sports spotlight coming up bottom of this hour.
I'm glad we're going to have Pistol on, because that last headline about high school sports you mentioned, I want to kvetch about it.
Okay.
I get it, but I don't like it even 1%.
We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get into that, cuss and discuss with Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. Bottom of the 4 o'clock hour.
We can cuss? Dang, things have changed in the last 2 weeks.
It's what the dump button's for. You've had that big red button next to the board for ages. I've only just started.
Oh, is that what that's for?
Yeah, I've been in there for the first hour of the show every day for the last like 3-4 weeks. I've started to notice that's there. But like, oh dang, I can let one go, and then I just hit that red button. It's like it never even happened.
There's a big label: Travis Kelce Super Bowl Parade.
No, that's the one for real. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to hear Brendan's conversation with Zach Watkins, the head coach of the Washburn Ichabods, the new head coach of Ichabod football. He spoke to Brendan at MIAA Media Days. We'll play that interview for you in the 4 o'clock hour. And, of course, 5:25 today. It's day 4 of our training camp reports with the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, brought to us by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. He called it Mount Rushmore week on the training camp reports. So we've heard from Big Red, and we've heard from Patrick Mahomes. We've heard from Travis Kelce, which means you can probably guess that we're going to hear from Chris Jones today, and he will be the focus of today's training camp report. That's coming up at about 5:25. Plus, all the shenanigans you come to know and expect from a Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk. We'll have our headlines. They'll be mostly MLB trade deadline related. We will crown a July champion on What Is Wrong With You. We're down to 2 stories. Charles Embezzlement Cheese and the Winnebago are our 2 stories remaining in what has been a fabulous month of What Is Wrong With You.
2 all-time names.
Yeah, really good.
Put those in their own wing of the What Is Wrong With You Hall of Fame.
Really proud of the names this month for sure. We'll do some either or, over under as well. We want to hear from you as we go along on the program today. Hit us up on the text line, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube stream. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. And if you're not, why not check it out? Today's a great day to do so. And subscribe to that YouTube channel if you have not already. Jump on into the comments. We want to hear from you. You can interact with us and your fellow listeners throughout the show. Hearty good afternoon to Mark H. Andrew. Sam is in the chat. Hello, Sam. Vance is in. Ryan. Paul is in the chat as well. Appreciate all you guys. Also, hello to David watching on Facebook from Texas today. You can catch us on our Facebook stream and comment there as well. WIBW News, the name of the Facebook page. Wasn't sure we were going to see a Royals move today after all, but there's still so much that can happen in the next 1 hour and 46 minutes. About an hour ago, the Royals did indeed make a move. They have traded catcher Freddie Fermin to the San Diego Padres, and in exchange have received a pair of right-handed pitchers, Ryan Burgert and Stephen Kolek. Let's tell you what the Royals are getting. Burgert was the 7th-ranked prospect in the Padres system by MLB Pipeline presently. I don't know if that had accounted when I looked this morning for another big trade that the Padres made earlier today, where their best prospect moved on to Sacramento in exchange for Mason Miller, their star reliever. But Ryan Burgert was a top 10 prospect, according to MLB Pipeline, in the Padres system. A 25-year-old right-hander. Tommy has already had Tommy John surgery, so he's had the arm surgically repaired. He was a 6th-round pick out of West Virginia, so he's a Big 12 guy. Made his major league debut this season. Has pitched in 11 games, 7 of them starts. And over the course of 35 2/3 innings, he's posted a 2.78 earned run average. 34 strikeouts in 35 2/3 innings. That's good. 18 walks in that same time frame. That is less of what you want. It's a power arm, a fastball that runs into the mid-90s. The sliders that he throws, it's a tight slider and a bit more of a sweeper that he throws from his right side. That are his best pitches. Probably somebody that over the long term profiles best as a reliever, but again, has starting experience in the major leagues. The other acquisition is Stephen Kolek, who, it should be noted, has thrown a complete game shutout in one of his 14 starts this year. In fairness, that was against the Colorado Rockies. So, just that's what
grading on a curve.
The Bud Black managed Rockies, who had totally quit. So that tells you, what you really need to know. Stephen Kolek's in his second major league year. The 28-year-old right-hander made 42 relief appearances last year, and this year has done nothing but start. 14 starts, a 4-5 record, and a 4.18 earned run average. Not a big bat misser, just 56 strikeouts in 79 2/3 innings, but he's only walked 26 and only allowed 8 home runs, so does well to limit damage by keeping the ball in the ballpark and not issuing free passes. The ceiling for Kolek is probably that of a number 4, number 5 starter. The ceiling for Burgert is probably high-end reliever or back-end starter. But this is why it's important for the Royals to have guys like that. Who else do they have like that right now? We went into this season actually kind of feeling good about the Royals' pitching rotation depth. Behind the 5 guys who started the season in the rotation, you had Noah Cameron, who'd had a nice spring. Alec Marsh was going to get healthy. Kyle Wright was going to get healthy. Luinder Avila had a promising spring. You felt okay about where the Royals were at, pitching depth-wise. Well, here we are in July, and they've already given up on Rich Hill 2 starts in, which means they had to sign Rich Hill at all. We were talking seriously about a Dallas Keuchel start sometime in the near future. And Dallas Keuchel hasn't been in the bigs all year and hasn't been good for much, much longer than that. The Royals needed pitchers who are big league capable and starting pitcher capable, who have team control, who have options, can be sent up and down between the AAA and the major leagues. And they need immediate help with 2 vacant rotation spots, at least for now, until Michael Lorenzen's return. And they check those boxes with this trade. And Burgert and Kolek, they're exactly that. Even if these guys don't reach their ceilings, these guys are going to help the organization replenish high-level pitching depth, which they just didn't have any of.
And the reason why that's important, the funny thing is, I think the Royals did have decent pitching depth, at least on paper, when the season started.
Yeah, on paper, you felt really good about it. But, best laid plans and so forth.
Right. You have depth until that depth needs to play. And then what do you have? That's the big issue right there. And I mean, this is the thing that I told you countless times, Dan, you and Spencer, going into the year, what was my big concern with the pitching staff? Not would they be good. They have been good. They've been very effective. Waka's been better than I thought. Lugo's been better than I thought. Obviously, you throw in Noah Cameron and, whoa, this team is, this group, this unit has outperformed even what I thought coming off of that great year last year. They were uncharacteristically healthy, and not in the sense that, like, wow, Tyler Glasnow went 3 starts without an IL stint. That's uncharacteristic. But, like, relative to the Major League Baseball average, you do not generally get the same starting 5 in rotation covering 90+% of your starts like the Royals had last year.
I have the exact numbers. In fact, last season, the Royals opening day rotation started 151 of the 162 games. And if you want to include Michael Lorenzen, who was acquired to fill in when Alec Marsh got hurt, it was 6 guys who made 157 of 162 starts. This year, the opening day rotation has started, I think it's now 89 of 109 games, which is right around like 80-ish%.
Right. And that's the worry, that you're going to have the injury regression is what the phrase is. And that's something that pops up with starting pitchers all the time. So having more guys who can factor in, and even if they're not going, and obviously this isn't apples to apples perfectly, maybe red to green apples, but like multiple Daniel Lynch type players, like they're probably going to be better for you in 1 or 2 innings out of the bullpen. But if you need him in a spot start or for a couple of weeks, it can work. That's extremely valuable, because you do not want to have many games where you use 9 pitchers over 10 innings. That is not something that you want to have to do very often. So getting more guys who can fill in, who can start, who can be useful more often than not out of the bullpen, I think that's a really solid return for a good backup catcher. I think that's an important caveat. Freddie Fermin is good at his job, he is also a backup catcher. And the only thing the Royals have organizational depth with, from the complex league to the big leagues, is at catcher.
Yep.
It's like the one thing the Royals have a surplus of. You can move on from Freddie Fermin, and big picture, you're not losing a whole lot. Great clubhouse guy, obviously a good defensive catcher. He's very good at calling the game. We found that out better than any other opportunity this past Friday.
And his defense has been more valuable to the Royals this year than Salvador Perez's offense.
Yes.
The combination of the two, for me, is actually, when you look at wins above replacement, he's been the more valuable of the two Royals catchers, because that's how highly the defensive metrics think of his defense. And he's joining an organization, the Padres, who've used two catchers this year. Former Royal Martin Maldonado, who is 38 years old, could never hit and still can't. And former All-Star Game MVP, Rocky great Elias Diaz, who's been worth negative wins above replacement. So this represents a significant upgrade for the San Diego Padres behind the plate. But as you mentioned, this is a position where the Royals, they had Luke Maile on the team and he couldn't get off the bench.
Yep.
And
he's like, Luke Maile's not going to kill you.
No, he's fine. Like, he just couldn't, they couldn't use him because Salvador Perez plays every day. Having a third catcher was a nice break glass in case of emergency thing when Salvi would tweak something. And now they're going to have to figure out who else that third catcher is going to be. Maybe it is Carter Jensen, who I have my concerns about long-term as a prospect, but is certainly hitting the ball over the fence at AAA in Omaha right now.
And if it's not him long-term, you got Blake Mitchell. And if
Ramon
not him,
Ramirez.
you got any other number of guys that Fulton Castor has fallen in love with over the last couple of years. Like you've got so many different options there. So I like Freddie Fermin. I wish him well. Appreciate everything he did for the Royals. I think Royals fans will remember him fondly for as much as you can remember a backup catcher fondly who played in the playoffs for 2 weeks. And this is a good return for that. I am very happy with what JJ Piccolo has done. And I think, like, looking big picture at it, the Lugo move, was it last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, the Seth Lugo move had to be a part of a bigger plan. Because if you re-sign your best tradable asset in a year that they could make the playoffs, but if we're just playing the probability game, they're probably not going to make the playoffs without a massive turnaround right now in the final 2 months. You instead kept that pitcher who is in his mid-30s now and has never been a full-time starter until the last 2 years. You decided to sign him to a multi-year deal. Okay, fine. I can live with that. In a vacuum, I can understand it. I can understand the detractors. But I think in terms of building for a competitive window in the next couple of years, that's got to be a part of a grander plan. Well, to me, going out and adding pitching depth that, you know, the most likely outcome on the bell curve is that they're useful bullpen arms and guys who can, in a pinch, start for you in a spot. And best case scenario can be even more useful than that. Yeah, that's a long-term move. That's a 2026, 2027 move while still giving you something in 2025. And as much as we like Freddie Fermin, the drop-off between him and Luke Maile in the grand scheme of things, probably not that big.
Over a 50-odd game sample, it's especially not that significant, where the drop-off, if you're having to go bullpen day every 5 days, or you're having to cycle through Dallas Keuchel starts or Rich Hill starts, like, you couldn't do that and realistically believe you could put together the kind of final 2 months you needed to make the postseason. You can see that future a little clearer with guys like Kolek and Bergert, who have at the very least delivered some competent major league performance this season. Like, I'm not projecting future stardom here, but maybe there's something more to Stephen Kolek that Brian Sweeney and his staff can unlock, much like they did last year with Michael Lorenzen, who came over. He was not having a great year with Texas when he came over to the Royals last year, and he was terrific in those starts before he hurt his hamstring and continued to give the Royals some solid work. I'm not saying they're going to turn Kolek into an ace, but if he can be a stable, every turn kind of starting pitcher, Royals are short on those right now. If Bergert can be a swingman, go from starting to relief, and I think relief is his long-term destination, they need guys like that. like I said, there was no immediate help on the way. It's what made the Lugo contract and extension so vital for 2026. If you were going to be good in 2026, you were going to need another starting pitcher anyway, because there's just not another Noah Cameron on the way up. And when a guy misses an entire season, like it looks like Alec Marsh is going to, there's no timetable for him to start throwing anytime soon. You can write him off for 2025. Probably just about write Kyle Wright off for 2025. Who else was there who was going to provide that so important starting pitching depth? The Royals went out and they got a couple of those guys. Now, does it move the needle on the low end of this roster? Is it raising your floor? Is it keeping you from bottoming out in the second half? Yeah, it is. Are these ceiling-raising moves for the 2025 Royals? They are not. That move, if it is indeed out there for the Royals, has not yet been made. There haven't been a lot of ceiling-raising moves, though, made among the American League contenders, at least not until about the last 30 minutes when the Houston Astros decided to get a little serious and bring Carlos Correa back and also add Jesus Sanchez from the Marlins, which is a move I really, really like for their outfield.
They are also, according to Ken Rosenthal, currently working hard, I believe is his phrasing, to go get Dylan Cease.
Wow.
So they said, the Mariners? That's funny.
Yeah.
Also, how about this? I did not know this. According to John Morosi of MLB Network, Correa has agreed to play third base because the Astros, you may have noticed, they're fine at shortstop.
Yeah, Jeremy Pena was playing really well. Made the All-Star team. He got hurt. So he should be on his way back soon, I believe.
Carlos Correa made his professional debut in the Gulf Coast League in 2012. He has never played a single pitch of any position other than shortstop.
Wow.
In his entire minor and major leagues, has never played one pitch of second base, third base, first, anything. He's going to be apparently a full-time third baseman now.
So they have another All-Star over there, Isaac Paredes, but he just got hurt. He's on the IL, and Christian Walker's been no great shakes at first base, so they can move Paredes over to first.
Yep.
That's if they get Yordan Alvarez back, which hopefully they do eventually because he's such a wonderful hitter. Sanchez gives them a left-handed complement to a very right-hand heavy outfield. Like, I really like the moves that Houston and Seattle have made. I think those are the two teams in the American League that have raised their ceilings the highest with the players that they've gone and gotten, again, with an hour and a half until the trade deadline.
I would agree with you on that, and that's fun. I mean, that's kind of an arms race that we're not used to seeing. Even the Mariners in the last couple of years before, sort of fizzling out late. Like when they made the playoffs for the first time in 2 decades a couple of years ago, they weren't going to win that division, and I don't think anyone expected them to. So it's kind of fun to have a new division that's got an arms race going. To be completely honest with you, the thing that has been more jarring to me is the number of teams just saying, okay, see you in 3 years. Like the Minnesota Twins, okay? Can you name all of the players that have a contract past this season for the Twins?
I'm certain I can't name them all, but like
yes,
as far as impact players, like
no, all players with a contract right now into next season. Byron Buxton, Pablo Lopez.
Wow.
That is it. They have arbitration guys.
Sure.
But that's a new contract. You get tendered a contract. You sign an arbitration deal. Mm-hmm. They have 2 players with a contract past this September.
You look at them being a seller and you look at Cleveland being a seller, and you feel even better about the Seth Lugo extension and the Royals saying, hey, this may not amount to a hill of beans for 2025, but we don't intend to fold the tents for 2026.
No, I'm even more bought in. I mean, I already was bought in on JJ Piccolo's tenure. I'm more bought in now than I was even a week ago. Like, they are setting themselves up very nicely. You and I were talking about this off the air today. Tigers are good this year.
Mm-hmm.
The last couple of weeks, and since the All-Star break, have proven it's not like they're infallible.
And they've added a bunch today. They've gone out and added 4 relief pitchers. Which, okay, like how much do relief arms, again, how much is that a ceiling raiser for you? I mean, these are not bullpen aces by any stretch. They got Kyle Finnegan from Washington, Rafael Montero, who I had forgotten was in the big leagues until I saw him this week in Atlanta, Paul Sewald, who's probably the best of the bunch, but isn't going to pitch for them until September.
Yep.
He's already on the IL. They're acquiring him, and then they're moving him to the 60-day. So he's not going to pitch for them until September at the earliest. And Cody Heyer, who's pitched one major league inning this year. He was good like 3 years ago with the White Sox, I want to say.
Yeah.
But those are the kind of moves that Detroit is making. So yeah, I understand that there are some other contenders. Like Toronto is taking a big swing. They got Shane Bieber today from Cleveland. Bieber hasn't pitched in the big since early last year.
Get Bieber back to Canada. Smart move.
Yeah, that's a big swing for them, but they have not added. I saw what you did there.
Thank you.
I don't think they've added the ceiling raising piece. The Yankees have added a couple of relievers today. David Bednar from Pittsburgh, Jake Bird from Colorado. I don't know that the ceiling raiser is there for them. Boston.
Bednar, their bullpen stinks.
Bednar was so bad early this year. He lost his closer gig last year, got demoted this year. He's come back and he's been awesome, but nobody's noticed because it's Pittsburgh and they don't have any leads to protect.
Yep.
So nobody has noticed that David Bednar has come back and been awesome. David Bednar strikes me as somebody who is going to get to New York and the lights are going to be entirely too bright for him.
That is possible.
Boston hasn't done much of anything. They've added Steven Matz, left-hander, who should be a left-handed specialist from St. Louis.
Bad guy, possibly? Am I remembering that correctly? Allegedly?
I don't know that about Steven Matz. I don't know that about him one way or another. Texas just joined the fray. It's been a red-hot Rangers team, and they've got a championship-winning core there. They added Danny Colomb, left-hander reliever from Minnesota. That deal's gone down in the last 20 minutes or so. Speaking of deals that have just gone down, the Padres continue to be extremely busy today. I mentioned they added flamethrowing reliever Mason Miller from the Sacramento A's. They have also added former Royal Ryan O'Hearn along with Ramon Laureano from the Orioles.
Did they give up every prospect they have?
Probably.
I don't know. Those are AJ Preller is the anti-prospect hugger. Just could not care less.
No, I love.
If I can't see you, you're not real.
AJ Preller operates like you playing like out of the park baseball, and has won as many real championships as you have too.
I like that for the game though. Like if I'm a Padres fan, I need a cigarette. But like if everybody always did the smart, efficient move, it'd be boring as hell.
It would.
But if you've got one dude who's, Charlie Kelly in It's Always Sunny, wild card. Like, awesome. Great. That's fun. Love it.
We'll take a break, come back with a quick game of either or over under. Then Rick Peterson will join us. Still to come on the show, Zach Watkins, Washburn football head coach, and a training camp report with Mitch Holthus. We're just getting started on this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Let's do a quick either or over under. Brendan, over under 0.5 more trades the Royals make between now and 5 p.m.
I will say I'll go under. I think they're done. I don't really know what else they have to move necessarily. I mean, I would love it if they moved a prospect to go get a controllable bat for another year or two, or this year through next year. I would love to do that.
I think now that they've seen that Minnesota and Cleveland are out and they play those teams a bunch of times and feel like, hey, let's go get better. Like, there's got to be one more bat they can add to really fortify this lineup. Randall Grichuk ain't enough.
All right, well, let me throw something out to you. Why not make an offer on Quan? Like, if the Guardians are just giving up on 26 anyway.
I don't think you have enough for Quan, frankly.
Man, yeah.
I don't think you have enough. I would.
I'd make an offer.
Listen, I would trade Gents. I'd trade anybody in the farm system not nailed down. I just don't know that there's enough. I don't know there's enough in the farm system. There's not. I don't think there's the high end. Like, look, I know Carter Jensen's hitting a lot of home runs at AAA. He's also striking out a troubling amount.
Yeah.
But like, no, I would do if Cleveland would do like Mitchell and I don't know, couple of arms. Like, I don't think that's a high enough price. But if they would do it,
you don't think they'd bite on Frank Mazzucato?
I don't think so.
Asa Lacy still in the organization? He's still kicking around. Over under 1.5 starts for Cole Reagans the rest of the year.
I'm going to go over. He is at last reporting on a throwing program. I think they can get him back on the mound in September. And if the Royals are sniffing around the postseason, they will want to have him back on the mound in September. I think that question could have a different answer if the Royals have a crappy August and they're stumbling to the finish line. And they may just say, shut it down. Maybe make a couple of rehab starts but let's not push this thing. But if it's not something that requires surgery, then there's no reason to think that, 3 months he can get back on the mound. And if he's ready to go and the Royals are still in striking distance, it'd be a huge boost for them in September. So I'll go over with that caveat.
No, I think that's entirely fair.
We'll take a timeout. Rick Peterson of TopSports.news joins us next for the local sports spotlight on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline by the great Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight. Pistol covers Washburn University athletics and Shawnee County High School sports over at TopSports.news and joins us every Thursday at this time here on 580 Sports Talk. Pistol, let's start with some more high school sports realignment news. We had heard some rumblings about this back in the spring, but it's being reported as official now. Spring Hill is going to join the United Kansas Conference. They'll be the 10th team in the league, starting with the 2026-27 school year and athletic year. That will take the UKC to an even 10. That league, of course, including Shawnee Heights, Topeka West, and Seaman. What are your thoughts on the league adding that program? I think it makes more sense for the program joining than maybe for the other member schools, particularly the Topeka ones, but curious to your thoughts.
Well, I think they're at their limit now. I think 10 would be the maximum they'd want, and they're at that. Spring Hill's a little bit of a journey for the city schools, but as far as the size of school and it being a 5A school, moving up from 4A a few years ago, I think it makes sense from that regard. The good program, I think they'll fit in good with that league.
What have you heard about what that will do for scheduling in the league? Because obviously that we're already a league where they did not play a full football schedule. A 9-team league. Every team kept a date for a non-league game, so not everybody was playing everybody anyway. But then in basketball, it had been a round robin, and that is not something you can do with a 10-team league unless you want to give up your mid-season or early season tournaments, which nobody's going to be willing to do. So have you heard anything about what that's going to do scheduling wise, or is that a decision that still maybe has yet to be made at the administrative level?
Yeah, I'm thinking that'll be a decision that'll become concrete during this school year. You got a year to play with things. I understand why leagues like to fill up their stuff with league games. It makes it a lot more easier on the ADs for scheduling purposes. But I love the preseason and midseason tournaments, and then I think teams enjoy getting, especially, let's go back to the city teams. They enjoy having the independence to schedule some of the city schools that they don't get to see anymore. So that kind of takes some of that away.
Pistol, I don't really know that I have a question as a way to format this thought, so I'm just going to blurt it out to you. I hate this. I understand, like the size of the school and the type of student body, and I understand those things. And I know there are parts of our state, like, you look at the Western Athletic Conference, like there's only so many 5 and 6A schools in the western part of the state. So Hayes has to make a long drive on a Tuesday to Dodge City. Okay, it happens. But the idea that you could have a 5:45 tip at Spring Hill, and Seaman's going to have to drive an hour and a half on a Tuesday night for a pre-6 o'clock tip for basketball. That's crazy to me. I get it, but at the same time, I can't stand it.
Well, and I think that you talk about, and we just talked about going all the way to Spring Hill and going to Baster and some of those. I wouldn't like it if I'm a parent,
right?
Particularly with a student that's playing a JV game, for example. You're talking about leaving in the middle of the day. So I would more like to see him, and I don't think this is in the works. This is just me talking. Maybe 2 divisions. Go. If you have a couple more that are interested in joining the league, go 12 and go 2 divisions. Maybe you can even go 2 divisions with 5 each, and then it opens up some scheduling possibilities.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Rick Peterson of TopSports.news, joining us for our local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk, because that was my idea when I heard the league was going to 10, and I have no idea if anybody from the administrative level, the decision-making level at any of those schools that's listening to me, but I'm going to give them $1 million idea here. I'm going to suggest that the league go to divisions, and I'm going to suggest they leave 5 weeks open for divisional play, where you play all 4 teams in your division over 4 of the weeks, and then the 5th week you leave as week 8 cross-divisional. the best team in one division plays the best team in another, all the way down to the fifth place team in one division playing the fifth place team in another, because then you have something no other league in the state has. You have a real live league championship game to play for. You get some of that cross-division scheduling at the end, and then you leave 3 dates that you can use for non-league play. For a school like Topeka West, that maybe puts Highland Park and Topeka High back on the menu. For a school like Shawnee Heights, same thing. I'm seeing a lot of potential benefits here for my little plan.
Yeah, it won't happen, Dan. Simply be. Hey, wait a minute. Let me finish. Simply because it makes too much sense.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, go to all this stuff. Go to all this high school conferences and college conferences. They all have one thing in common, that a lot of them don't make sense. So, but I love it. I love it. I love having scheduling independence, and I like the idea of playing for a league title. I know at one time, and it didn't happen because it would have been tough to schedule. There were several schools talking about maybe going independent and not even being in a league, but they need that league for scheduling purpose.
Yeah, and I wonder too if, given the way that the standings now are everything, and how you finish your final record determines how you get seeded and how you set up for the playoffs. I wonder if the concept of football leagues, and then of course there are other factors as well, the fluctuation in population, where you've got 3A and 2A and 1A leagues, you got leagues with schools in all of those classes, so you don't get to play really a full league schedule. I wonder if we're beyond the usefulness of leagues, at least in football, where certainly they make sense for every other sport to have leagues and to have those kinds of scheduling agreements. But in football, I wonder if we get to a point where we just do away with them altogether, and you just schedule more regionally, and you schedule more appropriately for the kind of program that you have.
Well, I've said for several years now that we've come to the point where leagues only matter to the team that wins it. They get to say, hey, we're league champions. They probably get a patch or something like that. But otherwise, the only thing that really matters is building up your record to get a good seeding for postseason. So and I think I agree. I just think they've kind of outlived their usefulness. Not so much in the other sports, as you said, but yeah, football is. And I really, really, really miss the city rivalries. That's probably one of the favorite times in my career is when all the city schools were in the same league. Every week was a big week, and I loved that.
It's nice to be able to cover all those games, too. We're talking to Rick Peterson from TopSports.news. It's the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. Wanted to shift over to some Washburn football, Pistol. You and I were both at MIAA Football Media Day down in Emporia earlier this week. Head coach Zach Watkins spoke, as did senior safety Jordan Finnessy, junior offensive lineman Jacoby Harmon. What was your big picture takeaway, Pistol, from the Washburn contingent on Monday?
Well, first of all, I thought Emporia State did a good job of hosting that.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be honest with you. I didn't mind not having to go to Kansas City, Missouri in rush hour, to go to the MIAA. And as far as Washburn, everybody's upbeat at this time of year, no matter what you went last year. But I think it's legitimate. I mean, I think there's some legitimate excitement. Most every player on the team stuck around all summer. That don't always happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it helps that they already knew Zach. Zach's a staple of that program long before he became head coach. So I think they feel as Finnessy told me, they feel very comfortable with him. And I think they're going to surprise some people. I picked them 7, and everybody else picked them 9. I mean, the polls came out 9. I picked them 7, and I think they could surprise some people. It's still the toughest league around.
Yep.
So it's going to be tough. But I like their home games. I think they can win several of their home games, and I'm excited.
I wanted to ask you about, being able to surprise some folks because, in our conversation with Coach Watkins, he said, they can pick us ninth, but we're not going to be ninth in those standings when the season actually gets here. And, there's some parts of this team, new quarterback and Justin Lewis, who I really like. Kai Thomas, all three folks who are there from Washburn, unprompted, talking about the offense, brought up Kai Thomas to me speaking on Monday. Jordan Finney is leading what should be a really good secondary. If this Washburn team is going to surprise some MIAA foes, Pistol, what would you guess would be the biggest reason why?
If they what, Brendan?
If they're to surprise the rest of the league, what do you think would be the biggest reason why they're able to do that?
Okay, couple things. One, you gotta be good on defense. You just really have to be good on defense, and I think the pieces are there. Bennett's the quarterback of that defense, and he's been around forever now. But the other thing, their line has to come through. Defensive line definitely, but offensive line is what I'm talking about. Because you gotta have a great line to give guys like Lewis and Kai Thomas and those guys some room to operate.
Rick Peterson joins us every Thursday at this time for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. Read Pistol's coverage over at TopSports.news of all things Shawnee County High School sports, and Washburn University Athletics has some great write-ups from MIAA Football Media Day and starting to get those previews out of the athletes to watch in the fall sports for Shawnee County. Yet another sign that sports season is right around the corner. Pistol, always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Look forward to it.
That is Rick Peterson. We will step aside for a timeout, come back, wrap up this 3 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. .355 on 580 Sports Talk, wrapping up the opening hour. Thanks again to Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for joining us. More to come from MIAA Football Media Day, which was earlier this week. We'll hear Brendan's conversation with Zach Watkins, the new head coach of the Washburn Ichabods, coming up at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. It is 36 days until the Kansas City Chiefs and Los Angeles Chargers open up the 2025 season, week 1 in Brazil. And unfortunately, this is the second consecutive day where we feature a Chiefs player whose career ended in tragedy. 36 is Mac Lee Hill's number. It has been retired since he passed away following knee surgery in December of 1965. He was injured in a game, and during knee surgery, his temperature spiked and suffered a sudden and massive pulmonary embolism that ended his life at just 25 years old. Mac Lee Hill was completely unwanted in the NFL draft out of Southern. Nobody took a chance on him. The Chiefs in the AFL did, and all he did in his rookie campaign was make the AFL All-Star game, and he was the second leading yardage gainer on the team in 1965 before his death following the 12th game of the season. His number is retired, and the Mac Lee Hill Award to this day honors the team's most outstanding rookie. Xavier Worthy won it last year. Josh Simmons feels like the leader in the clubhouse to win it this year, but a lot of candidates.
Yeah, look, man, I'm more than happy to take the L on saying that I thought the smart thing would just be to take a red shirt year, or play starting in week 12 if you're needed. If he is this good and this healthy right away, and it sounds like it's not just, oh, well, he's in good shape. Like, no, he's actually kicking ass. Then I'm thrilled if he's starting week 1 and Jalen Moore's your swing tackle, or if Juwan Taylor's your swing tackle.
Yeah, so we remember Mac Lee Hill with 36 days to go until Chiefs kickoff. Coming up at the 4 o'clock hour, we're talking Chiefs, plus Zach Watkins and what is wrong with you. That's all coming up on the next hour of 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk, hour number 2 on this Thursday afternoon. Joining you on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on video, our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, our Facebook page, WIBW News. However you're tuning in, wherever you're tuning in, whenever you're tuning in, thank you so much for listening to 580 Sports Talk. The gang is all here. Boy, I'm going to get emotional. The first time it's been this way in a while. But we're all here for the next hour. I am Dan Lucero. Brendan Wardzinski is here. Spencer Dupuis is across the glass. Brendan reintroducing himself on the YouTube channel in case you forgot what he looked like.
If you're on YouTube, I hope you can see every one of my pores.
So, Brendan, you've got this hour left to hang out with us.
Yes, indeed.
For people who have, you're in and out on the show and you've been wondering, hey, where's Brendan at? Well, Brendan's trying to make us all some money.
Yes, I've got some other responsibilities around the station, working the streets, working the phones, trying to get some advertisements here on Sports Talk and some of our other sports programming here on the Alpha Media Topeka family of stations. So, with that in mind, the powers that be have asked that, hey, we're trying to really ramp things up before football season gets started. Understandably so. We carry a lot of football on this radio station.
We do. We are carrying football tonight.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Sickos football tonight.
The Hall of Fame game. Hendon Hooker is going to play some football tonight, folks.
You know who else is going to play?
Trey Lance.
Even better. DJ Uiagalelei might get a whole half of football.
This is real hoops.
Professional football. DJ Uiagalelei should only ever be in a sentence if the sentence is professional football is something that DJ Uiagalelei should never play.
I think my guy Taylor Heineke is going to get some snaps too.
No, he's the emergency only quarterback for
What?
the Chargers. Yeah, that's what Harbaugh said.
So what does that mean? That he's locked in the backup spot?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I mean, I'd rather have him than DJU or Trey
Lance. Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, the Hall of Fame game tonight.
Yes. So
you will be able to hear it. Westwood One's coverage of the Hall of Fame game right here on 580 WIBW FM 104.9.
Who's calling it?
Great question.
Harlan? It can't be. There's no way Kevin Harlan's doing that.
Maybe they sent Ryan Radke. Like I
probably.
I genuinely don't know. But yeah, we have the Hall of Fame game tonight. As you know, we are the home of Westwood One's coverage of the National Football League throughout the 2025 season, and that starts tonight with the Hall of Fame game. We had the airtime, so we said, "All right, let's do it."
So yes, so we obviously carry a lot of football, all sorts of sports, all that, and the powers that be said, "Hey, we're trying to make a big push." To get some new local businesses, advertisers on our broadcast this year. So, Brendan, we'd like you to take on a little more responsibility this time of year. And being the team player I am, I, of course, cried and whined and complained about it the entire way. No, but you do what you got to do. So, appreciate you welcoming me back into the booth for the time being.
Absolutely. We're going to
and by the way, as I said at the time a couple weeks ago, I will be back full-time sooner rather than later.
Yes.
So it will not be a forever thing. I'll be back here annoying you for 3 hours in the near future.
No, we wanted to remind people that you still existed and we're, proof of life and all of that. And if you would like to, you or your business would like to advertise on any of our WIBW sports programming, Brandon's the guy you call, 785-228-7221.
That's correct.
We'll connect you with our guy, and he can help your business grow.
If you prefer the email game, if you're a millennial and you hate phone calls, Brendan at WIBWradio.com. You own a business, you work for a business, say, dang, I want to be on during Chiefs games.
Give Brendan a holler.
I want to be on during K-State. I know some of y'all want to have your business advocated during K-State games.
For sure.
Yeah, Brendan, BRENDAN at WIBWradio.com.
So it's all of us.
I've got an answer to your Westwood One broadcaster question.
Oh, who is it?
Good.
It's the one and only Scott Graham.
Oh, sure.
Along with James Lofton.
Okay.
All right.
Handling the coverage tonight.
So that is
Packer great James Lofton.
That's who you'll be hearing 7:00. By the way, here on 580 WIBW FM 104.9. Still to come this hour on the show. It's our July championship on What Is Wrong With You. We're going to crown a July champ, our 7th monthly champion of the year, to qualify for our December tournament of fail champions. We've also got Brendan's conversation with Zach Watkins, the new head coach of the Washburn Ichabods. Excited to hear what Zach had to say earlier this week from MIAA Media Days. Still coming up on the program later on, of course, it'll be our training camp report with Mitch Holthus at 5:25. That is when we will hear from the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. That's coming up, our fourth training camp report of the training camp. Fourth one this week. And, of course, we'll keep you up to date on what is going on at the Major League Baseball trade deadline. It is now 49 minutes away. The Royals have done nothing more than what you already know, what we already told you at the top of the hour, sending catcher Freddie Fermin to the San Diego Padres, who have been like crazy busy today. And the Royals receiving in return a pair of right-handed pitchers, Stephen Kolek and Ryan Bergert.
Someone said on the Everything app X that breaking news, the San Diego Padres have canceled the rest of their minor league seasons because they don't have enough players.
They're out of bodies.
How many guys that just drafted are going to be in single A, I bet?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
I would imagine quite a few. Nothing really relevant with the American League happening in the last little while. Padres, like we mentioned, been busy. The Dodgers just made a move, got a depth outfielder, Alex Call, from the Nationals.
You don't think it's relevant that John Heyman just reported Yankees still talking to teams about starting pitchers?
Yeah.
Hey, remember Mike Mussina? Wasn't he cool?
Yeah. Hey, CeCe Sabathia win the Hall of Fame last week. Can you see that? Remember we gave him all that money?
Remember how fat Boomer Wells was? That was cool.
David Cohn threw a no-hitter one time.
I did love
a perfect
Boomer
game.
Wells.
That was sick. Anyway, so
remember that time I got who were the two pitchers I got backwards? Don Larson and someone else. Do you remember this?
Yes, Doc Ellis.
Doc Ellis and Don Larson.
You thought
yes.
You said Don Larson threw his perfect game on LSD.
I did say that. That is correct. I meant Doc Ellis.
That is an all-time. That's as good as as good as the time I referred to former Masters champion Hideki Matsui on the program, trying to give some golf picks, and I called Matsuyama Matsui. So
this is what I missed, all three of us together here.
Yeah, for real.
28 subscribers away from an arm wrestling match now.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
true.
I'll be here no matter what. That
772 subs now. We were at 770 the other day.
Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Jump in the live chat as well. Jump in the fray. Interact with us and your fellow listeners. You can also text the program, 785-272-9429. Ryan in the YouTube comments asked if David Wells threw that perfect game while he was drunk. I think Wells said that and then backtracked on it.
So, yes.
So, decent chance he'd had at least a couple Bud Heavies or something before the game, but drunk might have been a stretch. It was the middle of the day in New York City in the summer. There's no way. He would have sweat through his – if he had been drunk, he would have sweat through his uniform and fallen down in the first inning. There's no chance he was drunk.
David, as your publicist, I must ask you, what the hell are you doing? Shut up.
There's Doc Ellis, there's a TV show I watched. They did an episode where part of the plot, it was a baseball themed episode, and part of the plot was the baseball team was trying to throw games, and they brought up a prospect, and to sabotage him, they were like, yeah, I put LSD in his gum. And I said out loud, as the character on the screen was saying the exact same thing, oh no, they Doc Ellis'd him. The character said the exact same thing.
That's funny.
Anyhow, it was Doc Ellis, LSD. Don Larson, World Series. That's how you tell the two apart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how you tell the two apart. Let's talk some Chiefs football, shall we? It's an off day in St. Joe. Yesterday, a light day, no pads, install. Today, get the day off. So we don't have any audio for you. We don't have any video to pick through with a fine-tooth comb and talk about why actually Elijah Badger should be wide receiver 1 or Robert Tunyon looks like he's 24 again, or anything like that. We don't have anything like that for you. But a couple of things that I've read recently, published, that regard the Kansas City Chiefs that I wanted to toss around today with you guys. Aaron Schatz of ESPN a couple of days ago ranked the 32 NFL teams' young cores. So this is the best assemblages of talent under the age of 25 in the NFL. So if you're over 25, you're not eligible to be considered for this list. So for the Chiefs, they rank 13th out of 32 teams, kind of right in the middle, above average. Blue chip players, Xavier Worthy, Trent McDuffie. Graduated players who are no longer considered, Rashee Rice and Brian Cook. Shots writes, Kansas City's talent under 25 generally comes in 3 categories. Extremely valuable players, guys who didn't make it but still might, and this year's draft picks. The first group starts off with McDuffie, also mentions Worthy, and George Karlaftis, who is 24 years old. McDuffie turns 25 September 13th, so this is like at week 1, how old are you? That's what we're considering here. So McDuffie, Worthy, Karlaftis. The second group, the guys who didn't make it but still might, that begins with 2 failed left tackles, Kingsley Suamataia, who is just 22, Wanye Morris, who is 24. Looks like he's lineman 9. He's OL 9 on this roster. So that's how far Wanye Morris has fallen. Chiefs are still waiting to get more out of 23-year-old Felix Anudike-Uzomah, and Sky Moore is 24, which is good for him.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, nice.
I forget who, I think it was a baseball manager who had this may have been a Tommy Lasorda quote, but I'm going to apply it to Sky Moore. Sky Moore is 24 years old, but in 2 years, I think he's got a real chance to be 26 years old.
I'm just awaiting a notification. Sky Moore released with injury designation settlement.
Could be. He did tweak the hamstring a couple of days ago at camp, sat out. Like, very well could be a way to get out of that relationship.
Do we know anything about him? In the sense, like, is he a good locker room
like
guy?
As a person? No.
Is he
no.
like? Is he tight with Trev? Is he like got a Gary Dieter situation going on where like he's super tight with another guy?
We would have heard if Sky Moore and Patrick Mahomes were like bosom buddies. We would have heard if they were like super simpatico after a while.
Gary Dieter got a nice little career out of that.
He had a career because of that.
He had a ring because of that.
He really does. Shout out to Gary Dieter. Anyway.
He's still like relevant too.
So the third group, this year's draft picks. That's why I think the Chiefs have a chance to move way up on this list next year. Mm-hmm. If all of these rookies are as advertised, next year's core group of under 25s, you're talking about Worthy, Josh Simmons, Omar Norman Lott. Like that starts to be your core. If Kingsley Suamataia settles in as a starting caliber left guard, he's only 22 years old. I think this is a group, this rookie class has done enough and put enough good film together in college and started promisingly enough. And you hear it in how the veterans talk about, even a Jalen Royals, who doesn't get mentioned in the article. But all of these guys seem to be making a really positive impression. And look, the bar is the 2022 draft class, and that's an extremely high bar. It's an all-time great draft class in Chiefs history. But the early returns on 2025 suggest this is another draft that has a chance to set the Chiefs up with young talent making a big impact for the next handful of years in a major, major positive way.
I think I'm in agreement with you, generally speaking, about this year's class. Like, how many guys do you think need to hit and be, like, not just playable, but, like, contributing guys to move this team into, like, the no-doubt top 5?
Simmons for sure. Like
Simmons, he's the closest thing to being a hit
Simmons
right now.
Is like an all rookie caliber left tackle, which
that alone might do it.
Yeah,
like looking at the rest of this list, Spencer, I'm going to use your team as an example here. He's got Washington third, 2 blue chip players listed, Jaden Daniels and offensive lineman Brandon Coleman, who we haven't even gotten to see a ton of Coleman yet, but like that's it. And that's enough to get them third. And Jaden Daniels was incredible as a rookie. And he's, 24, 25 now?
Yeah. He's 24.
24, okay. Like, if you get a franchise left tackle right away who's only 22 years old, that should be enough to move you up to, like, no worse than 6th or 7th in this particular ranking. So,
and it goes to show you in these rankings how much, like, positional value matters because, like, Jaden, the guys who are not mentioned as blue chip players, you're talking about Mike Sanderstill, who I like, but is a nickel corner. Jerzon Newton, who's a rookie. Ben Sinnott gets mentioned in the article. I know we all love him. He's a K-Stater, but
so apparently he's going to make a big jump this year behind Ertz. Apparently, that's the hope.
I hope so. I like Ben Sinnott. I hope that is the case.
So Houston's number 1 on the list, and that's understandable because they have a quarterback who qualifies. They have Will Anderson, who is a beast, and they have a first-team All-Pro cornerback in Derek Stingley who qualifies for the list.
Also, we talk a lot about Stingley. Their other corner who's also listed here, Kamari Lassiter, I think would be a number one in like half the league.
Yeah.
That's an easy number one, and I have no argument with it.
Yeah.
That young
Lassiter's
talent
only
is crazy.
22, man. That's
nuts.
That is wild. The Seahawks are number 2.
Imagine if Houston had even like a mediocre offensive line and not the worst one in the NFL.
Seattle comes in at number 2 on the list with guys like Devin Witherspoon, Byron Murphy, Jackson Smith, and Jigba.
Sure.
You mentioned the Commanders 3rd, the Giants 4th. That's where it's fascinating. They list Jackson Dart as a blue chip player, which give me a break.
Yeah, the use of blue chip here is like I really like Xavier Worthy. I don't think Xavier Worthy is a blue chip player. Like I think he's a very good and could be like nearly great kind of player. When I think blue chip player, like they've got Malik Neighbors listed here, I have no problem with that. But like anything less than that, I would not count as a blue chip. I'd put that as like what's next, like red chip, like very good. But apparently Aaron Schatz isn't big into poker.
The Bears are 5th. The Lions are 6th, even though Penei Sewell and Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch and Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta are all still under 25.
That's nuts.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, I can't believe Sewell is still that young.
I know.
He specifically seems way older than that.
That's outrageous that the Lions are that low to me.
Yeah.
Other divisional teams, the Chargers come in 10th. Joe Alt, Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson, and Tarheeb Still.
Okay, like right there. Why are we putting Quentin Johnson on this list?
I know, right?
Come on. That's ridiculous.
Tarheeb Still had a good rookie year. He's on the list.
And Ladd and Alt were awesome last year.
Yeah.
Quentin Johnston, come on.
Omarion Hampton's only 22. Their first year running back. Hearing a lot of great things about him at camp. The Raiders are 11th behind the strength of basically just Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty.
See, like, I don't think they should put Genty on here because they're not putting any other. Well, no, I guess the Panthers are next. They have T-Mac on there, so I guess that's fine. But not all rookies are being included. I like Ashton Genty for what it's worth.
I do too. But, yeah, the Raiders being that high, that surprises me a little bit. I forgot about him because I haven't thought a lot about the Raiders. I forgot they have one of the best names in the NFL, DJ Glaze, on their roster. What an elite DJ name. Really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for DJ Glaze.
Sounds like something from a Dunkin'.
We need that sound effect from Dan's phone.
Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
Yeah, right.
Dead last, DFL on the list of teams and their under 25 core talent groups. The Denver Broncos.
What happens when your rookie quarterback is like 34?
All their dudes are 25. All their best guys. Nick Benito, Patrick Surtain, 25 years old. Bo Nix, 74 years old. Their best guy under 25 is probably Marvin Mims.
Yeah, and I like Marvin Mims.
Jahdae Barron would probably be next on that list. Like all their draft picks. Even RJ Harvey's 24. Like he won't be eligible for this list next year. He's really good as a rookie.
That's wild.
Yeah, Denver's quite as kept kind of an old team.
I wish I had the stat in front of me. So second to last is the Dolphins. There's something crazy. Like the Dolphins only have like, including this year's rookies, something like 9 rookie contracts on their entire roster. Robert Mays had that stat a couple weeks ago. I was listening to a podcast with him. Like ridiculously old team. They need to have a great year or they're going to have to blow it up after this season.
Hold that thought about the Dolphins real quick. I did want to mention before we moved on from this topic that the rest of who we consider the AFC contender class, the Ravens are 15th. Zay Flowers, Kyle Hamilton, Roger Rosengarten, their starting tackle.
Kyle Hamilton's still under 25?
Yeah, those guys are all 20, all 24, 23.
He rules,
Nate
man.
Wiggins is only 22, really good player. Ravens are 15th. The Bills are 26th. Their best guys are Christian Benford and Keon Coleman. And the Bengals are just one spot above that at 25. Their best guy is Amarius Mims, their first-round pick at tackle last year.
With Jamar Chase turning 25. Yeah. That makes sense.
So
I get it.
The Chiefs are really well-positioned with a young core group in a way that some of their rivals at the top of the AFC really aren't. Back to your thought on the Dolphins. We talked about them yesterday because we had a news item on them yesterday in headlines. Kader Kuhu is out for the season. He was a starting cornerback for them. He's torn his ACL. He is out for the year. That means everybody who started in the secondary for the Dolphins last season will not start for them this season. Either they're not on the team or they're hurt. They're starting cornerbacks. Can any of you name a projected starting cornerback? There's one, when you hear the name, you never forget it.
Yeah, I knew this because I was reading a thread about it the other day. Storm Duck.
Storm Duck is going to start on one side.
Such a good name.
Cam Smith, maybe the most anonymous name you can have.
He stinks. He is bad. he is an objectively bad player. That's where Jack Jones ended up. Yeah. Jack Jones is the epitome of $1 million body, 10-cent brain. That's mean. You probably shouldn't say that, but it's totally true. Completely true. They also apparently signed Mike Hilton, who is still probably useful, but if Mike Hilton's your best secondary player, uh-oh. Yeah. Oh, no. Not good. So, tell us about the trade here in this column.
So Seth Walder of ESPN.com put out 5 trade proposals that could make sense over the next couple of weeks. Some of these are pretty big swings, like the Packers trading for Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, if we have a second here, I've got thoughts on these Packer trades.
Or trading wide receiver Dontavian Wicks to the are the Packers particularly active at this time? As an owner, please fill us in.
Not gonna happen. Also, they love Dontavian Wicks. Like if you put Romeo Doubs there, I would say okay, that could make some sense because the kind of open secret is if they were going to move someone, it would be him. They love Dontavian Wicks. I cannot see him getting traded.
So one of the moves here, though, involves the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this makes a world of sense. The Dolphins dying for cornerback help, and the Chiefs don't have too many guys. So Josh Williams doesn't sound like he's going to make the team. Like right now, if you had to cut it down to 53, I don't think he makes the team. I think he has fallen behind the likes of Najee Johnson and even Chris Roland Wallace in the pecking order because he lacks the versatility at corner that the Chiefs really value. He's a big corner. He can play the outside, but he can't play the slot. And he's had his moments, but he appeared to regress a little bit last year. And with Christian Fulton in the fold, with Noah Williams drafted this year, you hear about the rotation in practices. You hear about guys who get opportunities to run with the ones, and you're not hearing that about Josh Williams. So he appears to be on the out there in Kansas City. If the Chiefs could get, as proposed by Seth Walder here, a 2027 sixth-round pick, and the Dolphins get Josh Williams, I do that in a New York second. Yeah. I would absolutely, if there was somebody willing to give me something of value for Joshua Williams, I'm a bag of kicking tees at this point. If he's not going to make the team, and right now it feels like a long shot, it feels like something would have to happen, I would do this.
Yeah, if he's going to get cut anyway, I would say yes. My only concern, and I guess this, like if he's behind Najee Johnson, 1, 2, I mean, yes, he's probably not going to make it. The only concern I do have about cornerback depth for this team, I think I gave, when it happened, or right after the free agency period, I believe on this show, I gave the Christian Fulton signing an A. The one concern is he has been healthy 1 season in his career.
Yeah.
That is a worry. I think that was an awesome move. I love the upside of it. I love the talent, especially him as a number 2 instead of a number 1, even if you have McDuffie in the slot, not outside. He gets hurt a lot, and I want to have competent depth behind him, but some combination of Noel Williams, Shamari Connor, Chris Roland Wallace, Najee Johnson, whatever, some combination, they can probably ham and egg it and make it work. You can put Connor in the slot and move McDuffie outside if you need to. You there's that versatility you were just talking about. So I think for Williams, and what was the proposed trade here? It was
2027 6th.
Yeah, I would almost think it would have to be a 7th with condition, like playing time
conditional
conditions to get a 6th.
Yeah.
For a guy who was going to get cut anyway. But yeah, if he's the odd man out, then I think that would be a fine move. Miami needs it badly.
They really do. We'll take a time out here on 580 Sports Talk. We will come back and crown a July champion on What Is Wrong With You next on 580 WIBW. There can be only one, like the Highlander. There can be only one July champion for What Is Wrong With You, presented by our buddy Mo, State Farm Agent Ryan Mo Winkle. Give Mo a shout, 785-273-1572.
Mo!
There it is. Missed that.
Missed that.
2 stories have survived the ringer of the month of July. It was an incredible month of What Is Wrong With You stories, and we are down to 2. Our first story, the Winnebago. 2 people in West Virginia, Matthew McDonald and Shannon Bryant. They faced several charges after an officer said he observed them doing the nasty while driving a recreational vehicle, which
While drunk.
was stolen. And they were under the influence. Drug paraphernalia was also found in the vehicle during a traffic stop. So it's crime layered on crime, layered on crime, layered on crime. But none of the other stuff all the other stuff may have gone undetected, if not for the fact that they decided driving down the street, driving down a highway would be the best time to make the beast with 2 bags.
I mean, listen, sometimes you're horny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, when you're driving on it, when you have a rolling bedroom that you are driving, that gives you some options.
Sure.
That do not involve freaking the funk while the vehicle is moving. I don't think that's an actual euphemism. I don't know
the funk.
I don't know where that came from. Sound like a 1990s Dare officer.
I asked ChatGPT to write a romance novel. It gave me freaking the funk.
They pulled over. The smoking gun had this story too, and they actually got the quote from the person who was driving, and I'm pulling it up right now. The officer's name R.L. Ham, which is very funny. A passerby yelled out,
Real life ham.
yeah, the RL is for real live ham. A passerby yelled out that the occupants had switched seats before I made contact with them. I inquired about their actions while the vehicle was in motion, to which Ms. Bryant candidly responded, "We were bleeping."
Honest.
Yeah.
How can you ask for anything more than honesty?
McDonald reportedly admitted he and Bryant were naked and attempting to engage in sexual activity while driving. And, a search of the vehicle found that, they had a lot of drugs in it. And, they were drunk. And, the RV was stolen. So they're in a lot of trouble. That's the Winnebago. Shout out to Paul K in the YouTube comments for that title of that story. It goes up against Charles Embezzlement Cheese, the guy playing the big rat at a Chuck E. Cheese in Jacksonville, who got hauled off by the cops. A caller reported a stolen credit card. The victim said they had a party at the pizza joint and afterward noticed about $100 of fraudulent charges on her card from places she didn't shop at or hadn't been to. She was able to trace the activity to an employee at the Chuck E. Cheese. Police initially identified the suspect as an employee who was checking stamps at the front door. But when they returned to make an arrest, they were advised by another employee, "Hey, he's playing the rat right now. Just so you know, he's got the costume on." So they handcuffed him in costume in front of a child's birthday party, and they took him out.
Man. This is one of the all-time great visuals of
Yes,
What Is Wrong With
that
You.
is what I'm saying. Like, it is up there with the snowman with the penis and the meat suitcase and the skeleton sex house.
The woman with the allegedly bad back throwing the tree.
Yeah, that one. That one kills me. That story got a raw deal. The guy who made the human hamster ball tried to go across the ocean.
That's a great one.
That's a good one. But yeah, here we have a downcast Charles Entertainment Cheese, hands behind his back, handcuffed. You can see the visual, by the way, if you've never seen it before, for whatever reason. If you've somehow missed it until now, it's up on our YouTube channel right now, 580 Sports Talk, or on Facebook, WIBW News. You see the expression on the cop's face, which is like, man, I went to police academy. I studied real hard. I did all the right things to become a police officer, and now I'm arresting a rat. I'm handcuffing a beloved children's mascot in front of the children, and I've got to lead him out the door. What is my life?
All right.
So there you have it. We got the Winnebago. We got Charles Embezzlement Cheese. There can be only one.
Oh, this is so hard. Also, both of these stories somehow are ones that I picked this month.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that good for you.
All right, I'm voting for the Winnebago. I completely understand the desire to pick the funniest visual, Charles Embezzlement Cheese. However, that to me is more so just like Chuck E. Cheese here is just guilty by association. Like, if this guy was a bricklayer, no one would say a word about it. This would have been barely in the police blotter.
Yeah, it's just straight up credit card fraud. It's one of those crimes. It's very stupid, but it happens a lot. It just doesn't usually happen. And then you go to arrest the guy and he's dressed as Charles Entertainment Cheese.
That one is more the outside context to me is the funniest part. Whereas the actual, like, what is wrong with your brain? How is it wired that way? Why are your synapses like that? Is the Winnebago.
And I think, too, it's the doing something dumb while doing something dumb while doing something dumb.
Yeah, it's
the old triple down.
The Russian nesting doll of stupidity and crime. And
the sex while driving, while also driving a stolen vehicle, while also being drunk.
Yeah, I do.
For me, that's my vote.
Okay, well, then it's been decided, but I was going to make it unanimous. I love this visual. I'm going to leave it up just to look at it just a little bit longer before we leave Charles Embezzlement Cheese to the memory bank. It's a great visual, but without the visuals, it's still a great story. And my lean is no, where we don't have a visual on the Winnebago, and thank God for that. But you don't need one to picture these two nude, sweaty druggies in an RV that they stole high on God knows what, telling a police officer, yeah, man, we were trying to bone.
This to me feels like a spirit of the rule kind of decision. And I'm going with the one that is like more what is wrong with you versus just like generally funny.
Yes. At the end of the day, though the YouTube allows us to use some visuals for those who are able to watch the program on our video stream, radio remains theater of the mind. And with that in mind, I will take the story that is funnier without the visual. And the Winnebago is our champion for the month of July on What Is Wrong With You, sponsored by our guy Mo, State Farm Agent Ryan, Mo Winkle. Again, you can give him a call at 785-273-1572. When we come back, Brendan caught up with the new head coach of the Washburn Ichabod, Zach Watkins, MIAA Media Day in Emporia earlier this week. We'll bring you that conversation next. 444 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, Spencer hanging out with you. Brendan, you got to go to Emporia on Monday and chat with members of the Washburn football team for MIAA Media Day. Football season right around the corner and a new head coach.
Yes, indeed. Along with Jordan Finney and Jacoby Harmon, two active players. Got to talk to Zach Watkins, the new head man for Washburn football. A lot of stuff that we got to. I won't keep you waiting any longer. So here's my conversation with the head Ichabod, Zach Watkins.
So as we wind down the summer, guys are getting some of that regeneration time and time to get fresh before training camp. And we'll start here in a week and we'll get ready to go.
I wanted to ask you a little about Coach Dominic because we heard about him from Jacoby, who we talked to earlier. We talked to Jordan. He mentioned him a little bit earlier. And I know you had some comments right after you got the job about how, like, this is going to be different, and we're really excited about what this is going to look like. So what are some of the differences from, and not to put anyone down from before, but some of the differences for your strength program going forward compared to past years?
Yeah, being able to hire Clint. Clint's got a extensive background, all different levels, and coaching every sport, not just football. So he's got an incredible knowledge of the entire strength and conditioning department. Mm-hmm. But in this era of football, your strength coach is the most important hire. He spends the most time with your guys, most time in the off season, the winter, the summer. He's the only one allowed to see him, a good part of the year. And so when I got the job, that was the first hire I made. And we saw the benefits just from a strength and conditioning perspective, but also body composition, nutrition, the size of our players, all the things that go into strength and conditioning were just immaculate this spring for how Clint did it.
We're talking to Zach Watkins, head coach of Washburn Ichabod's football, live from MIAA Media Days in Emporia. This coaching staff as a whole, I mean, obviously or at least knew several of these guys before they joined your staff full-time this year. But as you've seen them evolve from spring and then over this summer program and now with camp just a couple days away, how have you seen this group kind of mesh together already?
Yeah, it was fun. We got here as a full staff in early January, and we had recruiting visits and all the paperwork you have to do and all the things, and we just never stopped. And we went that way all through our summer camps, our team camp and prospect camps and all the camps we had. But to see the guys develop as a staff and individual coaches, it was just, better than I could have imagined. And you hire guys because they're great people and great coaches, can develop your players the right way. But when you see them become cohesive and become a family and want to work together and, have a hard time leaving the office because they're having so much fun and they're doing such a good job. But then as you go into summer, it took a learning curve for everything. Spring ball was the first time we'd coached together. The spring game was the first time we'd ever coached a game together. That's why we did it as much game-like as we could. First time we did everything. First time we did summer camps. First time we did our first training camp coming up, our first season together. So all those firsts add up to what I think will be a really successful season.
All right, so I've got to ask, because I brought this up to Jordan earlier as well. So last year when we were here, he was telling me that he's a big golf fan and that one of his favorite people to play against is you because you guys are so competitive and it matches up so well. But he told me today, you guys haven't gotten to play because you've been so busy with all this new stuff as a head coach. Have you gotten on the links at all this summer?
Yeah, I've played a little bit. It's one of my favorite hobbies. I'm a big believer and you got to recharge the batteries. You got to get away from the football grind for a little bit. And so after our last camps in June, we had a few weeks to get away and there's times we'll play, June, July gives you ability to play. And then this time clean the clubs, put them away for, the next 6, 7, 8 months. But we try to mix in rounds with the players and coaches, and there's some really good golf, some really bad golf, but it's a favorite hobby of mine, trying to get my son into it. He's out there swinging the clubs a little bit. So it's a lifelong sport. And, no matter what happens down the road, that's something that you could always hang your hat on to play.
So he's pretty young. So how is his game already? What's kind of the early scouting report for him?
He can hit the ball off the tee, and then we just go right to the putting green. So we kind of skip the irons and the wedge game. But I love taking him out. It's a great father-son bonding time. He's 5 years old and doesn't quite know the etiquette yet. He'll walk in your line sometimes. But, as a father, and that's the most important time you can get with your family. And that's the number one priority of our program is family. And so being able to do something you like to do, golfing, but also while you're doing it, being a dad with him, it's just the best thing.
My little girl is only 7 months old. So she has no idea what a football is. We got a little foam when I was rolling to her yesterday, and she loved it. So we're off to a good start. We're talking to Zach Watkins, head coach of Washburn football from MIAA Media Days here in Emporia. On the field, let's start with the offensive side of the ball here, because there's going to be some new faces. Obviously, some guys move on to some great D1 opportunities. Trey Richardson, All-American last year. He moves on. Quarterback room shifts a little bit. What are some of your initial thoughts about how this offense is coalescing around what Coach Simino wants it to look like as we start the season?
Yeah, we brought some transfers in. Like you said, we lost some transfers from our team going outward. We brought some guys from out coming in, developed some freshmen, developed some young guys. We've been a really young team the past couple of years. And so now that youth hopefully turns into good experience and into, guys who can start and be quality backups. And on the offensive side specifically, bringing in transfer quarterback for some competition, that room has really increased production because of the competition that we've created there. Obviously bringing in Kai Thomas and bringing in some receivers, our skill positions have been elevated. And I think this summer was a great opportunity to get in the weight room, to do the captain-led practices and kind of get everybody integrated into what should be a fun offense.
On the defensive side of the ball, you were a linebacker. You coached this defense just, this last season and for the last several seasons. But I know you said right after you took the job that you wanted to be more of, the CEO kind of coach. You wanted to be involved in everything, didn't want to just be, defense only, offense do its own thing. Has that been a difficult adjustment for you, being a defensive play caller and now to taking on that shifting role and still being involved, obviously, but being involved in a different way?
To be honest, it really hasn't, because when you hire the right guys on both sides of the ball, but Caleb Cook defensively as the defensive coordinator, he leaves no stone unturned in his preparation. He's as thorough as they come, as detailed as they come. He's a tremendous teacher. And so I've got no qualms at all about turning the defense over. You kind of find out as a head coach throughout this semester what's all on your plate. And it's not all that you imagined. It's more and more and more, and that's a good thing. But I just don't think our program could be as successful as it can be if you're also trying to call plays, you're also trying to coach a position. So I've turned that stuff over, and it has not been difficult because you're turning it over to the right guys.
Some of the guys who are returning for this defense, Jordan Finney, who's here with us in Emporia, he's one of the most well-rounded defensive backs you're going to see in Division II football. I think LJ Minter's as good as any linebacker in college football, and I doesn't maybe get the recognition, but he's as good as anybody. Them, and you throw in Caden Ramey on the defensive line, some of these other guys too. How excited are you about these veterans who are coming back for another year?
Yeah, starting back, going front, our back end is the most experience we've got. The safeties, the corners, they've all played. Some have had medical red shirts. Some are some transfer guys, but we are very experienced and older in the back end, Jordan being the leader of that group. Yep. Moving down to backers, LJ had an all-conference season last year, and then JC will move back to the inside, JC Heim. And those two guys are as good of a duo at linebacker as the MIAA can get. Our D-line was young last year, so those guys are now older. We brought some transfers in, really upgraded the size and the speed at that position. So I think overall the summer workouts have been tremendous for the cohesiveness of that unit. Coach Cook running them through the spring ball and all the things that we did, and then going into training camp will be just kind of meshing all those individual great units into one great defense.
The last thing I wanted to ask you, Coach, you mentioned how the core of this program is family and that family orientation. I know you've been talking about that from the very beginning. What has this been like for your family? Because obviously, this is an incredible opportunity for you, for the Watkins family. What has it been like for your wife, for your kids to now be the family of a head coach? Obviously, you've got more responsibility too. What have these last few months been like for them?
Yeah, my wife, Amanda, my 5-year-old son, Parker, my 2-year-old daughter, Naomi. Kids are young enough where, they don't quite know exactly all the stuff that's going on. Mm-hmm. Parker knows I'm head coach, but doesn't quite know what, head coach means. Right. But my wife is tremendous. She has her own flourishing career. And so we balance that with parenthood very well. But Washburn's a special place to me, obviously playing here, coaching here, the alumni support that we've gotten, re-engaging some people. And you always want to do a great job as a coach, no matter what your job is, coordinator, position coach, head coach. You want to do a tremendous job. But when it's your school, when it's our school, our alma mater, the guys I played with, our alumni base, the fans, the donors, the boosters, it makes the job that much more valuable, that much more important, because it is your job and you have to do well, but it's our school at our place. And so my family loves Washburn. We attend all sporting events. We're at all the functions and the fundraisers and all the things that we do. And so it's just a really special time in our lives, and for our kids to be able to grow up as coaches' kids and be around our players and be around the program. And I'm just thankful for all the things that Washburn can provide for us.
Zach Watkins is the head coach of Washburn Ichabod's football, just 5 weeks away from kickoff here at MIAA Football Media Days. Coach, we appreciate the time.
Thank you very much.
That is Zach Watkins, new head coach of Washburn football. I can't wait for this season, man. Now just about 30 days away. We'll get to a break. We'll end this hour with some Royals trade news on 580 Sports Talk.
Join Flint Hills Beef Fest August 15th and 16th in Emporia, Kansas. Friday morning sale barn livestocker show at 9. 11:30 beef producer seminar with lunch at the Boyer Building. Friday night ranch feed, Boyer Building at 6. Ranch rodeo at 7. $20 adults, $5 kids 10 and under 3 are free. Saturday cornhole tournament and mechanical calf roping. Free hamburger feed, awards banquet, steak dinner. Dance to music from Steve Kyle Band. Advance tickets required only $50. Annual Flint Hills Beef Fest in Emporia. Details at beeffest.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com.
WIBW, Topeka.
The Kansas City Royals have made another move. The trade deadline is in 2.5 minutes, and the Royals have added another back-end starting pitcher to the fold. Left-hander Bailey Falter, acquired from the Pittsburgh Pirates in exchange for 2 prospects, minor league reliever Evan Sisk, who made his big league debut with the Royals earlier this year, and minor league first baseman Callan Moss. So the Royals have acquired 3 arms. Will there be any more done before the bell rings at 5 or just after the bell rings when a lot more deals will be announced? That remains to be seen. But we'll talk about in the next hour, 580 Sports Talk.
You still have 40 million plus vehicles globally that are driving around with a potential ticking time bomb, a grenade in either their steering wheel or their dashboard. When we look to what injuries may have transpired from a defective airbag, we generally see loss of vision in an eye, or we see facial lacerations. We also see hearing loss. Unfortunately, we started seeing death after death after death. When that passenger airbag exploded, it basically degloved his entire face. He lost his nose, he lost his right eye. The type of catastrophic injuries that one is more accustomed to seeing in a Hollywood movie, not something from a device in an automobile that's supposed to protect you. Morgan & Morgan has a national reach in terms of handling and prosecuting cases, notwithstanding the team of lawyers that we have collected that focus only on product liability day in and day out.
Morgan & Morgan. Visit us at badairbags.com for an office near you. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Stay connected for news, sports, weather, and ag on the Voice of Kansas, FM 104.9, 580 AM, WIBW, Topeka.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Severe weather is sweeping across the eastern part of the country after days of extreme heat. Christopher Cruz reports.
3 to 4 inches of rain fell northeast of Baltimore this afternoon. About 10 miles north of the city along U.S. Route 40, this man's car was swamped.
I've never seen it like this before. And so I figured it was safe to come out. And once I came across that railroad track and got here, I figured I could keep going, but I couldn't.
Flash flood warnings are in place for parts of New York City, New Jersey, and Philadelphia. States of emergency have been declared in New Jersey and New York City. Christopher Cruz, CBS News, Washington.
In Texas, lawmakers held a hearing on the deadly July 4th floods. Chris Fox has that.
William Thomas is the emergency management coordinator for Kerr County. He told Texas state lawmakers at the time of the flooding, he was sick in bed.
I was awakened around 5:30 a.m. on July the 4th by my wife, following a call from the city of Kerrville EMC requesting that I mobilize.
By that time, Camp Mystic was already underwater. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick also called out Kerr County Judge Rob Kelly for his immediate response.
I don't know where you were on day one on July 4th, but you should have been here. You should have been here directing that response.
Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
The president is dispatching his Mideast envoy to Gaza tomorrow. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
Tomorrow, Special Envoy Witkoff and Ambassador Huckabee will be traveling into Gaza to inspect the current distribution sites and secure a plan to deliver more food and meet with local Gazans to hear firsthand about this dire situation on the ground.
CBS's Deborah Patta.
Life expectancy has reportedly fallen by 35 years. Gaza has the highest number of child deaths of any conflict zone, and the report concludes starvation has been relentlessly used as a weapon of war.
The deadline to make a trade deal with the U.S. is midnight tonight. CBS's Jill Schlesinger on what we can expect.
Now it seems that we're settling at a 15% tariff rate with some, I would say, hazy details on how those countries will be investing in the United States, different for each country.
The U.S. Treasury says this country has already taken in $87 billion from the tariffs. Correspondent Nancy Cordes is at the White House.
Revenue is increasing. It is coming in. It's going to the U.S. Treasury. And the president has even floated the possibility of sending rebate checks to Americans.
On Wall Street, investors were following the latest tariff developments, and stocks finished lower. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to the Kansas Information Network.
Hi, I'm Felicia Rolfe. Here are today's headlines from 12 News. A man wanted for an Oklahoma City murder dead after a Topeka standoff. Police say Carlos Slaughter was found dead in a home early Wednesday. Police believe he died by suicide. The state of Kansas says it will not comply with the demand from the USDA to release personal information for those who receive SNAP benefits. The state says it would threaten sensitive personal information for thousands of Kansans. An Eastern Kansas Kansas man is in custody this morning, accused of child sex crimes. The KBI says Peter Hawkins was arrested Wednesday morning on 24 counts of sexual exploitation of a child. The Neosho County Attorney's Office is expected to prosecute this case. In Wichita, Felicia Rolfe, 12 News.
You're listening to the Kansas Information Network.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into. And that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Here's your updated forecast on 580 WIBW. Overcast this afternoon with a high of 81. Winds out of the northeast, 8 to 15 miles an hour. Lows level off around 62 tonight. High temperatures reach up to 81 tomorrow. High of 80 Saturday under partly cloudy skies. 79 Sunday, slight chance for storms. I'm meteorologist Ray Miller in the Capitol Federal Weather Center. Right now, it's 78 degrees.
Stay connected online at 580WIBW.com.
Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk, hour number 3, final hour of the day on this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and of course on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you for the rest of the way. Brendan Brzezinski had to dip out. So it's just the two of us, and we can make it if we try. We've got a jam-packed final hour for you, summing up the Major League Baseball trade deadline. The moves are still coming in fast and furious, and we will sum up as many of them as we possibly can here in our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We mentioned it just before we went to break and ended the 4 o'clock hour. The Royals have made another trade today, acquiring another pitcher with years of team control left. Starting pitcher Bailey Falter acquired from the Pirates in exchange for a pair of prospects. Falter is a left-hander, actually has playoff experience. Wasn't good playoff experience, but he started a championship series game for the Phillies against the Padres back in 2022. Spent his first 2.5 seasons, 2021 through 23, with Philadelphia. Went over to Pittsburgh in a trade, has been a Pirate for the last couple of seasons. 22 starts this year for Falter, a 7-5 record, a 3.73 earned run average, and 113.1 innings. Not going to blow it by you, but does throw a lot of strikes. And they has that in common, frankly, with the other starter that the Royals acquired today, Stephen Kolek, part of that trade they made with the Padres, acquiring Kolek and Ryan Bergert in exchange for catcher Freddie Fermin. Have not heard of another Royals move yet, but there are still deals that are being announced. I don't know how the Twins are going to field a baseball team tomorrow. I have no idea how they're going to field a team.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just in the last 5 minutes, they traded Griffin Jacks to the Rays, apparently in exchange for Taj Bradley. Okay, wow, that's an interesting trade. Taj Bradley, I really liked coming into this year. It has not clicked for him, but boy, he could be really good. That's a really fascinating trade between the Twins and the Rays. Also, no. Oh, who's the number one Royals killer right now? Who's the one guy you think of when I say this guy murders the Royals? Ty France.
Oh, yeah.
Guess who Ty France just got traded to? The Toronto Blue Jays. Guess who the Royals play this weekend? It's bitterly funny, I suppose you would say. But, yeah, Ty France just got traded to the team that plays the Royals this weekend. Oh, goodness. That I got to imagine there's some Royals hearing about that thinking, nah, man, that's not cool. Don't love that. Anyway, still some moves being announced, and that'll continue to be the case, I'm sure, for about the next 10 minutes or so, as the trade deadline has passed. The trade deadline passed 10 minutes ago. So if there's anything else that has not yet been announced, certainly we'll keep you abreast, but we'll do a full rundown here on our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Also still to come this hour, training camp report number 4 with the great Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, courtesy our friends of Hy-Vee and Azure Credit Union. Mitch will join us here in about 15 minutes or so, and we'll get his thoughts. Day 4 of Chiefs training camp reports. No practice today up in St. Joe, but we're still going to hear from Mitch, and we're going to talk about Stone Cold Chris Jones as what Mitch called yesterday on the show Mount Rushmore week continues on our training camp reports. Plus, we'll have a final accounting of what the Royals did or didn't do at the trade deadline and what I think the moves they made today say about what they believe about themselves and what they felt like was most important to do for the final 2 months of this season and for 2026 and beyond. Because I think what the Royals have done today is make smart moves. I do not think the Royals made the move that will catapult them to the playoffs, unless, again, it is announced here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But I do think that they have made some smart moves that help them organizationally. So that's all coming up. And, of course, we want to hear from you, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also jump in the YouTube chat. Our YouTube channel is 580 Sports Talk, and talk about the trade deadline, talk about what Mitch Holthus has to say, or you can talk about chips. That's what y'all are talking about in the YouTube chat right now. You're talking about chips. What's your favorite chip? It's not Random Question Tuesday. What's your favorite chip?
Just a good old Lay's.
Classic?
Little classic.
Don't hate that. Don't hate that.
Can't go wrong with a classic.
I love I think they're the Hickory Barbecue Ruffles. The Hickory Barbecue flavor Ruffles. I think that's my favorite potato chip. So anyhow, whatever you guys want to talk about, make it yours over in the YouTube chat. Let's get to our 580 Sports Talk headlines. I'm not going to hold you. It's going to be Major League Baseball trades probably all the way until we have to take a break. Let's sum up as best we are able the moves of the day. The biggest deals that have been made today. The Houston Astros reunite with their former star shortstop, Carlos Correa, as the Minnesota Twins strip it to the studs. They send Correa to Houston for prospects. Correa has been injured and not super productive this year. Last year, he was awesome, made the All-Star team. The 30-year-old shortstop has 3 more years left on his 6-year, $200 million contract. There's also team options through 2032. So Correa could be reunited in Houston for a long time to come. Spent the last 4 years with the Twins. Houston already has a shortstop, so Correa says he'll play third base. Isaac Paredes, their all-star third baseman, currently on the injured list. So that's where Correa will line up defensively for the Astros, who going into today's action have a 5-game division lead over Seattle and Texas in the AL West. Speaking of the AL West, the Texas Rangers were busy today. They have added three arms, Danny Colomb from Minnesota, Phil Maton from the Cardinals to their bullpen, and Merrill Kelly is the big addition to their starting pitching rotation. Kelly, a 36-year-old right-hander, 9-6 this year with a 3.22 ERA, 121 strikeouts in 128 2/3 innings. Solid veteran innings eater, playoff experience. Really like that addition for the Rangers. Also, as far as big moves go at the deadline today, the busiest team was over in the National League. The Padres today acquired flame-throwing young reliever Mason Miller, along with left-handed starter J.P. Sears from the Sacramento Athletics. Miller, who can hit 103 miles an hour with his fastball, has 59 strikeouts in 38 1/3 innings out of the A's bullpen this year and 20 saves in his 38 appearances. J.P. Sears is a left-handed veteran innings eater, 29 years old, a 4.95 ERA in 22 starts. Padres also added a former Royal, Ryan O'Hearn, along with outfielder Ramon Laureano in a deal with the Baltimore Orioles. Laureano hitting .290 with an .884 OPS in 82 games in the outfield for Baltimore. O'Hearn, of course, made the All-Star game for the first time in his career this year, a .283 average, .837 OPS, 13 home runs for the left-handed hitting O'Hearn. So the Padres certainly got a lot better, which really makes it interesting that the Dodgers didn't do anything. Like, not a thing. The Dodgers. They didn't do anything.
Wait, they did.
Well, they didn't add anything. Let me say. They didn't add anything.
Didn't they add Alex Call?
They didn't add anything.
Alex had a pretty good season.
Alex Call is a fourth outfielder. Like, if your divisional rival is going out and getting the best closer on the market and one of the best left-handed bats on the market, one of the best outfielders on the market, and all you do is go get Alex Call, you didn't do anything. Like, you didn't do what you should have done. Maybe I am being shortchanging Alex Call a little bit, but my argument is that is a lot of nothing for the Dodgers to have done. In contrast to, like, if I'm a Dodger fan sitting here right now today, I would be irate that the Padres went and did all that, and the Dodgers, who are perpetually injured, everybody on that team is hurt. You've got a 3-game division lead, and the Padres sure as hell got 3 games better today. I don't know if the Dodgers did. So I'd be really mad right now if I were a Dodgers fan. Anyway, Padres have been super busy. Other big moves in the American League. Former Cy Young Award winner on the move, albeit one that hasn't pitched in the major leagues in 2025. Shane Bieber goes from Cleveland to Toronto. Bieber, of course, won the Cy Young in 2020, but he's dealt with some arm issues the past couple of years, recovering from Tommy John surgery. He's been rehabbing down at AA, AAA, hasn't yet made his 2025 Major League debut, but expects to soon, and now will be doing so north of the border. A Bieber in Toronto.
I liked what Brennan said earlier on in the show.
Yeah, he did.
It got me laughing from the studio at the end of the hall.
He did. He made a good joke. What else do we have as far as I'm trying to scroll here? Let me just tell you who all the American League contenders have added, essentially.
Yeah.
This will be how we get caught up. As far as the division leaders go, Toronto kind of sat back today. They added, as I mentioned, Shane Bieber. They picked up Sir Anthony Dominguez to close games a couple of days ago. Detroit added 3 relievers and a starter today. They got Rafael Montero from Atlanta, Paul Sewald, who's injured currently from the Diamondbacks, and Kyle Finnegan from the Nationals. They also, late in the deadline, have added Charlie Morton from the Baltimore Orioles. We do have breaking news. We have a Royals trade that has just been announced 17 minutes after the trade deadline. The Royals have added Mike Yastrzemski in a trade with the San Francisco Giants. The Giants have been one of the worst teams in baseball over the last month and pivoted to being sellers. And a veteran left-handed bat, 34-year-old Mike Yastrzemski. And if the last name sounds familiar, Carl is his grandfather, in case you did not know. Mike Yastrzemski is the newest Kansas City Royal, and he is a precisely league average offensive player in the outfield.
So you're telling me the Royals got a league average player?
I'm telling you they got, well, I mean, he's been worth 2 wins above replacement according to Baseball Reference, so he's a good defender and exactly league average. We give OPS plus, right?
Yeah.
Average is 100. Above average is above 100. Below average is less than 100. Mike Yastrzemski's OPS plus this year is 100.
So you're telling me some guy named MJ Melendez might get DFA'd today?
Well, I don't know about DFA. He still has options. He'll probably be sent down to the minor leagues. But yes, Mike Yastrzemski, he'll be in right field tomorrow in Toronto, provided, there are no visa issues or anything. 96 games this season, 231 batting average, 330 on base, 355 slug, just 8 home runs, but it's a tough power park. Notoriously for left-handers there in San Francisco. 8 home runs, 14 doubles. He's also stolen 6 bases, and as I mentioned, plays an above-average right field defensively. Left-handed bat, he is signed through the rest of this year, so this is a rental. I wouldn't expect the Royals to have paid a lot to get Yastrzemski, but they needed a corner outfield bat in the worst kind of way, and they went and got one. So Mike,
who are they sending out, though? That's the question.
I don't think it will be anybody of consequence. Tyler Gentry, like somebody like that. Like it's not going to be anybody of consequence. I do think that this is a positive move. The Royals, they had to add offense today. I think, and we'll talk more about this as we go along on the show today. But I see the vision and I understand, and I think they did smart additions to their group of pitchers, but they had to get a bat. If they were going to make a serious run, they had to go upgrade their offense, and Mike Yastrzemski lengthens the lineup. He is not a superstar by any stretch of the imagination. He is strictly a rental player, but he will play right field for the foreseeable future, and then he's handled center field. He hasn't played any center field this year, but he's played center field in the past. He hasn't played left field in a couple of years, but you'd imagine that if needed, he could handle that as well. This also takes the pressure off of Jack Caglione to A, recover from his hamstring injury, or B, produce upon his return from that hamstring injury. Mike Yastrzemski is by some distance the best offensive outfielder that the Royals have, and I honestly think he could fit at the top of the order if they wanted to move him to the top and move Jonathan India, who's done well with runners in scoring position this year, move him down in the batting order a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the move too. So I like this. It's not earth-shattering. It's not going to I don't think this is the move that makes the Royals World Series favorites or anything like that, but it was a must that they get out of today with a bat, and they added Mike Yastrzemski. And we've got reaction coming in. Lenny the Cool on the YouTube chat. It's not the power bat I wanted. Well, that bat must not have been out there, to be completely honest with you. And Lenny adds, I'd rather have Rave continue to play. John Rave is not as good as hitter as Mike Yastrzemski. Flat out, point blank, period. Yastrzemski's a better hitter.
And they've given Rave a huge leash.
A long leash. Yeah, we've seen a lot of John Rave.
Yeah.
And what we've seen of John Rave is a hitter that to date is 30% worse than league average. And if you can upgrade a position in the order by 30%, I think you ought to do it. And I think that's what the Royals have done with the addition. That's what the numbers say that they have done with the addition of Mike Yastrzemski. Also a good glove, again, in right field. I think that matters in Kauffman Stadium. I think you've got to have good outfield defense at Kauffman Stadium, and Yastrzemski's been a solid glove throughout his career. So I like the addition. We still don't know the return. The Royals haven't announced it formally on any form of social media, but I can't imagine it's going to be much, again, because it's a rental for a 34-year-old outfielder. Would have been wonderful to see the Royals go and get a controllable bat, like they went and got controllable arms, but those guys didn't move. Like there weren't a lot of those players. Like there was a lot of talk about Stephen Kwan, and he didn't go anywhere. There's talk about Lewis Robert being traded, and so far he hasn't gone anywhere. So I think that this is a totally reasonable move. It's, again, maybe not the most exciting thing the Royals could possibly have done at the trade deadline, but they checked the boxes. They had to add starting pitching depth, and they did it. They had to add an upgrade offensively in an outfield corner, and they did it. Those are the boxes checked. J.J. Piccolo, that's 2 deadlines in a row. He's had a shopping list, and he's checked the boxes. And time will tell if that's good enough. But we'll take a break. There's a bunch of other moves we didn't get to. We had no chance to be able to sum up. Camilo Doval from the Giants to the Yankees, Cedric Mullins to the Mets. So much stuff happened today. that we didn't get a chance to get to. Maybe we'll get to some of it later, but for now, we're going to take a break. We're going to get to Mitch Holthus for another training camp report next on 580 Sports Talk. .526 on 580 Sports Talk. It is day number 4 of our training camp reports. As the Kansas City Chiefs had an off day up in St. Joe, but our training camp reports don't take a day off. We are joined by the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, here on 580 Sports Talk. Training camp reports are brought to you by Hy-Vee, your official tailgate headquarters for Kansas City Chiefs football, and by Azure Credit Union, where you can contact Crystal Rippey, Kirsten McCall, or Naseem Khan about the credit union advantage for your next home loan. Mitch, you called this yesterday Mount Rushmore week for the training camp reports. Means we're hearing not just from the current greats, we're hearing from all-time greats that are rostered for these Chiefs. Travis Kelce was yesterday, Patrick Mahomes the day before that. Today we're talking about Chris Jones, as great as ever, a player who's aging like fine wine, and a player who you have had a chance to see so far in training camp, who maybe looks to you like he's every bit as committed or more so than maybe he's been at this stage of a training camp.
Yeah, let's go back to Monday with Coach Reed. So we know Coach Reed, Pat, Kels will be first ballot Hall of Famers easily. And it's ironic, the Hall of Fame games tonight, there'll be, 3 different times the Chiefs will be involved because of those guys getting inducted. And you could really strongly argue that Chris Jones will also be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. His 10th season. And what's amazing about this year is that he has been as dedicated in the off season, OTAs, training camp. He's doing extra work. After the super hot day 2 days ago, he was pulling the sled after practice. It's like, who got into Chris's body, kind of. And so he's just been remarkable. So I asked him, like, it just looks like he's doing so much more than he's ever done, but it's maturation, it's trying to fight back, and being a 10-year veteran.
I think it's important for us as a team to make sure our veteran guys are attentive, the ones that are here, to make sure we lead the younger guys. We got a lot of new faces, a lot of new change of schematics, and a lot of new individuals that's going to take a little learning and understanding and get used to this defense.
To play both inside and outside, and you've got guys around you that can play both inside. When you get Charles in with you, or you're flip-flopping with him, or Mike, how big is that for this defense, and how big is it for you personally?
I think it creates an advantage for us as a defense where I'm vulnerable to move inside, outside. And it also helps the D-line where we can exchange positions. You know, we got a guy like Mike Dana who could play 3-tech and also play DN. His primary position is DN. We got a guy like Charles that can move around. So having a lot of versatility along the defensive line is a good thing for us as a defense because we can exchange guys in and out.
And the in and out, to me, is really underrated as part of the biggest part of why Spags' defenses are so good. Now, only 5 sacks last year. He's the ambassador to Sack Nation, but for Sack Nation. But last year he was 7th in the league. This is overlooked. 7th in the league with quarterback hits and hurries. And then there's the non-stat of what he creates for other people. And to have a full year, hopefully, of Charles Omenihu, who has been, injury riddled throughout his career. I think only 1 year he's had a complete season. But we also know that 2 years ago he had 7 sacks in a truncated year, meaning Omenihu. You put Omenihu, you just heard him say it. Omenihu, Chris, Karloftis, this blend of inside, outside, Mike Dana, Felix Anudike-Uzama, now Ashton Gelati, Omar Norman-Lott. You got guys moving in and out, side to side, and it makes it very difficult on quarterbacks and centers. 2 guys have to come to the line of scrimmage and identify what's going on for the rest of the offense pre-snap. The center, who sometimes can change a blocking scheme on his line call. Many times it happens, more than fans realize. And then the quarterback, who's big, what they look at numbers, 95, where is he? Where's 90? Wait a minute, what is he doing here? And what's 54 doing here? And so the fact that the Chiefs can mix and match, as Chris just alluded to, becomes something that can drive centers and quarterbacks and offensive coordinators crazy.
You mentioned that on paper, the back of the trading card stats for Chris Jones were down last year. Just 5 sacks last season for Jones, coming off of back-to-back double-digit sack seasons. But the number of quarterback hits, the number of pressures, the number of his pass rush win rate, he still rates among the elite of the elite at his position. Is that something that a guy like Chris Jones or guys are aware of, the understanding that even if they're not getting the sacks, that they're still super impactful in the way that Chris Jones was last year? Or is Chris Jones saying, yeah, it's wonderful to win these pass rush reps, but I got to get the quarterback down?
It's a little of both. And it's maturation on Chris's part of being a 10-year pro, where you realize how to really evaluate your personal performance as it relates to the team performance. He knows if he gets attention that allows Karloftis or Omenihu or Norman Lott or anybody else to get the hit, hurry, or sack, he's done his work. Now, Chris also has been there at the biggest moments. His plays at the end of the 22 AFC Championship game against Adeniji, the KU kid, against Cincinnati was profound. He takes over the fourth quarter, Super Bowl 54, does Chris Jones, with 3 passes knocked down. Not 2, but 3. And then we have seen him come up big in the playoffs, including last year in 23 and 24. So Chris gets it. A younger player could get frustrated, chase sacks. I got to have sacks. My bonus is on, but he's made his money. Chris has made his money. His agents know, don't bring up sack numbers. We got to get some more sacks. Chris is like, no, I'll do my part. I might get a sack, but if I get one for somebody else, that's just as big as me getting a sack. That's the way Kelsey thinks. That's the way Mahomes thinks. And defensively, as fans, we have to become a little more educated on it. When we play fantasy football, it's like sacks and picks. That's it, because it's like the easiest thing to track. And you're not going to track quarterback hits and hurries, but just know when you're playing fantasy football, if Chris is down 5 sacks from where he normally is, you got to understand he's still making an impact and effect on the game, especially with those 78 quarterback hits and hurries.
We're joined by Mitch Holthus here for the Training Camp Report, talking about Chris Jones today. And Chris Jones is a guy, he can do it for you on the field. He can be your leader in the locker room, and he can be the guy to joke for you when you need a joke. How awesome is it that a guy like Chris Jones is as good as he is on the field, but also as good as a teammate and locker room guy that you can have? And it's like 3 to 4 guys in one. How good is that for a team?
Oh yeah, he's amazing, and it's like the song, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. I think we're just taking all of that for granted with Chris. He really has an engaging personality and is fun around the locker room. I've seen him get serious too, but it's like you look at him like, you fun, Chris? Are you crazy, Chris? You're serious, Chris? Okay, but he's got older children. He's a dad now, man. I just seen him grow up a lot. He and Kelsey have grown up the most of any of the two guys. In my 32 years, they're top 5 and how far they have come in maturity, emotionally and mentally, from when they entered the league to where they are now.
Mitch, we just talked about that mentorship aspect of it. How much does it energize him to have a guy like Omar Norman Lott in camp this year, a player who comes in and has an opportunity to impact Sac Nation with the skill set that he has and the need that the Chiefs have for that interior pass rushing punch with the loss of Turk Wharton in free agency? How much do you sense that having a young guy with some Chris Jonesian traits come into the organization as a rookie has energized Chris Jones to get to serve in a direct mentor capacity?
Yeah, it was that way. It has been with George Karlaftis since day one. Those two, as the warden on Shawshank would say, they're thick as thieves. And Elmer's a different kind of player. He's more of a Turk Wharton type, kind of a Colin Saunders looking player. But Chris, also Ashton Gelati, I mentioned him before, who's athletic and high promise. But I'm going to throw in a pro. Jerry Tillery's been around a while. Chargers, first-round draft pick, came out of Notre Dame, kind of thought to be the deal. His pro career has not been what people anticipated. But Chris has really done a good job with him as well, coming into a new culture and being in the division but not being with us. And so it's not just with the rookie guys. It's with the guys like Karlaftis, who's mid-range in his career, or a guy like Tillery, who's at nearing the last stages of his career but with a new team. And Chris recognizes that and embraces it.
We're talking with Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. This training camp report presented by Hy-Vee and Zurich Credit Union. You know, start talking about legacy for players, and it feels too early to talk about it for guys who, like Chris Jones, seem to have a lot of really good football left to play. But it's been fascinating seeing him go from, Chiefs fans understand his impact on the team to now 3 straight first-team All-Pro honors later. We're talking about a guy who is going to have a bust in Canton one day, not just be in that Ring of Honor at Arrowhead Stadium. He's going to be in Canton one of these days. And for him to have, it seems as though there has still been growth in him. And you can sometimes get lost in I thought that Spencer asked an interesting question about the personality of it. You get all of these things wrapped up in one guy, but you see Chris Jones, the jokester, Chris Jones, the guy who crashed George Karlaftis' press conference and say, now he's G Money now, start calling him that, which was one of the funniest things I ever heard. Karlaftis' response to that was so great. So you have the jokester, the merry prankster, or whatever you want to say about Chris Jones's fun personality, but there is that desire, that hunger to be great that characterizes all of the Hall of Fame caliber players that we've ever seen in this league. And Chris Jones has it. And sometimes I think that does get lost a little bit.
Yeah, and the fact that he's approached this offseason has been impressive. This is why I wanted to focus him tonight, because he's trying to do something else. He's trying to make another push in another way. And so I do think that the fact that the human that he is, the all-encompassing part of him, is way more than a football player. So, yeah, that's an excellent observation.
Mitch Holthus is the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he joins us throughout training camp for these training camp reports. They are a service of our friends at Hy-Vee, your official tailgate headquarters for Kansas City Chiefs football, and Azure Credit Union, where you can contact Crystal Rippey, Kirsten McCall, or Naseem Khan about the credit union advantage for your next home loan. Mitch, we will do this again tomorrow. Who will we be talking about tomorrow?
I had a room on Mount Rushmore.
Right
now, that's Reed, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Chris. But if you look the next mountain over, that's where we got to look. Who's the next ones that could be in this role? And so McDuffie's got to be right there. And I've debated, like, where do I go next? But we'll go to McDuffie and just talk about him and where he's at and where he's going.
Wonderful player and a very insightful player. So I'm very interested to hear the insight that we get from Trent McDuffie on tomorrow's training camp report with Mitch Holthus. Mitch, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. We'll talk tomorrow.
Thank you.
That is Mitch Holthus. We will step aside for a timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, we will wrap up a wild MLB trade deadline. The Kansas City Royals have added 3 pitchers and an outfielder today. We'll tell you all about them in case you've missed any of it, and talk about what the very clear-to-see strategy was for the Royals and how J.J. Piccolo executed it today. You're listening to 580 Sports Talk. I think I think the dust has settled on the Major League Baseball trade deadline.
I would hope so. It's
I
43 minutes
we are
later.
43 minutes past the deadline. I think everything that was going to be announced that could be completed has been completed.
I think the Royals are getting ready to take off from the airport.
Yeah, they were supposed to take off at 5:30, go up north to Toronto. And they're going to be going north with some new faces. It will be interesting, I guess, to see how they manipulate the 26-man roster, because all four players they acquired today could go on the 26-man roster, but some of the pitchers could go down to AAA Omaha. It just kind of depends on what the Royals want to do. But to sum up once more what the Royals did on this Major League Baseball deadline day. First, they acquired a pair of right-handed pitchers, Ryan Bergert and Stephen Kolek, from the Padres in exchange for catcher Freddie Fermin. Everybody with the Royals is sad to see Freddie go. Wonderful guy in the clubhouse by all accounts. Just a great teammate. A great story, too. He was never a prospect. Like, that was never a guy coming up like, oh, look out for Freddie Fermin. Freddie Fermin, he's the next one. He's going to be the guy. Like, Mabris Valoria was the guy you heard about. Like, he might be the guy that takes the job from Salvador Perez one day. And that never happened. You never heard that about Freddie Fermin. And Fermin has essentially willed himself into becoming a major league caliber catcher and a starting caliber catcher. Like, there are teams he would start for. And the Padres are one of them. And he gets to go start. He gets to go be a full-time catcher somewhere. So everybody's happy for Freddie. Everybody's going to miss Freddie. But the Royals have catching depth in their minor league system. They have catching depth when it comes to their current 26-man roster, with Luke Mailey kind of being the forgotten man on the roster there for a while.
I always forget he's on the
Yeah. So it's a move they could afford to make. Freddie Fermin goes to the Padres. Ryan Bergert, Stephen Kolek. Lots of team control. Bergert is a rookie. Kolek is in his second season. So 5-6 years of team control on these guys, and minor league options, which is also valuable for a team like the Royals. They didn't have a lot of guys like that. Hence why we saw Rich Hill pitch 2 games, and why we were talking about old Dallas Keuchel being called up. Anyway, Bergert and Kolek, better than those guys. And will have an opportunity to pitch for the Royals down the stretch. Royals also acquired left-handed starting pitcher Bailey Falter from the Pittsburgh Pirates in exchange for a pair of prospects. Evan Sisk, the name you know. He pitched 5 innings for the Royals earlier this year. They were his first 5 big league innings. Callan Moss is the other prospect, a first baseman going to Pittsburgh in the deal. Falter, a veteran. He's been durable. He started a bunch of big league games. 110 career appearances, 81 starts to be exact, and has kept his ERA in the 3s this year, despite not missing a lot of bats. He's been a pretty extreme ground ball guy to this point in his career, but certainly a 28-year-old back-end starter, arbitration eligible starting next year, so doesn't become a free agent for 3 more years. So again, lots of team control, a guy who can be around for a while, a guy who I believe can be optioned to the minor leagues as well if needed. And then the move just after the trade deadline had arrived, the move that was announced late, the Royals acquiring right fielder Mike Yastrzemski from the San Francisco Giants. The return is minor league right-handed pitcher Junior Marte, who's having a nice year at A-ball at Columbia for the Royals, 21-year-old right-hander. But Yastrzemski is a rental. He becomes a free agent after this season. 34-year-old right-hander who's been consistently a 2-win above replacement player in his career. His OPS plus is exactly league average, 100 on a 100 scale so far this season, hitting just 231, but getting on base at a 330 clip, which is better than a lot of Royals can claim. He will certainly be an offensive upgrade for the Royals in the corner outfield spots. Better hitter than John Rave. He'll produce better than Jack Caglione was producing, and play a nice right field defensively as well. So Mike Yastrzemski comes to the Royals. So big picture, J.J. Piccolo checks the boxes on his shopping list. JJ's wife sends him to the store for milk, eggs, and yogurt. He's coming back with milk, eggs, and yogurt. He's not forgetting anything. He's not getting you anything more than that, but he's not forgetting anything.
But he's also getting you like the good average stuff.
Yes.
Not the high end almond milk. He's getting you the good old like 2% milk.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with 2% milk.
No.
That's my milk of choice. Anyhow, JJ Picollo fills out a shopping list. The need for the Royals at the deadline. Would I have liked to have maybe seen them go find a left-handed reliever? Perhaps. But the need was they needed pitching depth, and they needed pitching depth that they could be flexible with. They needed pitching depth that could fill a role for a month. And then if Cole Reagans comes back in September, they needed somebody they could send to the minor leagues. They needed somebody they could move to the bullpen. You can do that with Bergert. You can do that with Kolek. I think you can do that with Falter. You can be flexible with these guys. They are upper level organizational depth pitchers. Not going to be future frontline guys, but they are depth pitchers, and the Royals were obviously lacking for pitching depth in a year where they've been pretty struck by the injury bug, in a year where they were so desperate they turned to 45-year-old Rich Hill. They needed pitching depth, and they went out and they got it at a price that I feel was pretty reasonable. They were able to trade from a position of organizational strength in Fermin at catcher, and they were able to give up some prospects that I don't think are going to be real missed. A left-handed reliever and a first baseman. Those guys, a dime a dozen as far as minor league prospects go. They needed a corner outfield upgrade. They got one. Mike Yastrzemski is an upgrade. He's not a superstar. He doesn't light you on fire. I understand that. He's a solid, average Major League Baseball player, and the Royals didn't have any of those playing in the corner outfield. They just didn't. Randall Grichuk can spell him against lefties. You can have a platoon out there in right field. You're not blocking Jack Caglione for the future. I like the idea of a rental in right field. Mike Yastrzemski is that. I would have liked more to go get a controllable bat like a Stephen Kwan. I have a text from 785 said I was really hoping for Kwan. Kwan ended up not moving.
I kind of thought Pham would have moved again.
Tommy Pham.
But he's still in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he stayed put in Pittsburgh. That is a bit of a surprise. That same texter asked, what's one name you're most surprised didn't move? Probably Sandy Alcantara from Miami. Really, really thought they were going to trade him. They traded Jesus Sanchez to the Astros, but they didn't trade Alcantara, and I'm really surprised they didn't. That would be the one guy, to answer your question, texter, that I was most surprised did not get moved. So the Royals checked all the boxes. I think they checked them sufficiently. Is the team dramatically better today than it was 24 hours ago? Dramatically, no. But better on the fringes, yes. Better position to weather this injury storm that they're dealing with in their starting rotation, also yes. Better in the corner outfield, yes. Better enough to chase down Detroit? Probably not. Did they get better than their peers in the wild card chase? I don't know about that. Texas added Merrill Kelly. I really like that for their rotation. Seattle, of course, fortified their corner infield. They just traded for Arizona's corner infielders, Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez. Boston didn't do much today. They added Dustin May from the Dodgers. The bloom is off of that rose. He's just kind of a guy now after all the injuries. Steven Matz, same thing. You can get lefties out, but not much else. So I'm not real enthusiastic about Boston's deadline day. The Yankees were super busy, rebuilt their bullpen. David Bednar from Pittsburgh, Jake Bird from Colorado, Camilo Doval from San Francisco. They also added Jose Caballero from the Rays, kind of like that pickup as a utility guy. So the Yankees got better. I think Houston got a heck of a lot better with Ramon Urias, Carlos Correa, and Jesus Sanchez. Detroit and Toronto maybe didn't get a whole lot better, but I don't know that what Kansas City did is going to put them over the top, but it gives them a punching chance. And I think that given everything this team has been through with the pitching injuries kind of sabotaging what was the best part of this team, what was the part that you hung your contention hopes on for this team, given the disrepair that's fallen into through injury, I think all you can ask for if you're the Royals is that punching chance.
I kind of wish this Toronto series would have been the midweek series. It would have given me a better, like, if they would have ended up selling. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
Like if the Royals game their upcoming series with the Toronto Blue Jays, who are the leaders in the AL East.
Yes.
If it was just happened instead of the Braves,
it would have been a better barometer.
Yes, it would have been because
okay,
like if they go and lose, if they go and get swept this weekend, you're 4 games under 500 and some other teams got better.
And the thing about Toronto is I don't think their roster is that spectacular. I just think that they are red hot. They have just been stupid hot of late. But I don't think they have like this spectacular. I don't think anybody does. That's the thing. I don't think anybody in the American League has a spectacular roster. We talked about it yesterday. This might be the first year since 2007. Nobody wins 60% of their games. You just don't have that kind of a team. So it will be fascinating to see how they match up with Toronto. And we'll, of course, talk about that on tomorrow's edition of 580 Sports Talk. We're going to end this one with a final word coming up after this. It's time to wrap up 580 Sports Talk. Spencer Dupuis, give me a final word.
Yeah, I got a few things here in this one. First of all, that was a crazy end to the trade deadline. Going all the way up to like 5:20, there were reports of trades in, which is crazy. A lot of the Padres aren't going to have a minor league system or want to have to cancel a minor league team after selling like 13, 14 guys. Also, I'm in shambles right now because Terry McLaurin has just requested a trade.
T's and P's.
Yes.
Man.
Also, shout out to my girlfriend. It is our 2-year anniversary.
Oh, shout out to you and Olivia.
Yeah, she followed this guy here, this old lad here across the country to chase his dreams.
Yeah,
So
shout out to Olivia. I love. I do. Final word for me today. I like what the Royals did. I think it shows that they have a clear organizational plan for what to do at a trade deadline, and they executed that plan today, I thought, in a way that made them better, even if not dramatically better. The one other thing I will say that I didn't get to in the last segment that I'll leave as my final thought here. Last year, the Royals acquired Michael Lorenzen, and I wasn't super thrilled on the idea of adding Michael Lorenzen because I didn't see a whole lot there, but the Royals saw something, and they got really good work out of Michael Lorenzen before he got hurt last year. And they've gotten some fine work out of Michael Lorenzen this year, too. I think the Royals really believe in their major league pitching development. I think they believe they can get guys like Bailey Falter and Stephen Kolek in and get something out of them that is more than what their previous teams got out of them. Which, I mean, Falter's coming from the Pirates. It's a miserable major league franchise. They might be right. They might be right about that. So it's there's some leap of faith involved here, but I think it's a justifiable leap of faith in the Royals' ability to develop major league pitchers that they have shown. That does it for us. We're back tomorrow from 3 until 5:30. For Brendan and Spencer, I'm Dan. This is 580 Sports Talk. Good night.